up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, it's too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt, evolve, survive, and save it. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong.
Oh, look at me. I'm retarded. I'm a globe.
The whole system is designed to disconnect you from your intuition. Why? Disconnected people are easy to manipulate. Everything from sunscreen to politics to the food industry. It's all designed to disconnect and manipulate you. We are in the middle of a war right now, but it's not a traditional war. It's a war on consciousness. It's a war on freedom. This is the time to listen, not to the news. No, your intuition, your gut, your heart. Love is the greatest weapon against darkness. How do you love more? You begin by loving yourself. How do you love yourself? You listen to the messages your body is telling you.
I'm scared, Dad.
Do you trust me, son?
Yes.
Come on, son. Rule number 1, never trust anybody.
All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Sovereign Soul Unchained Mind, coming to you 251 miles above your imagination in the international fake station, this IT nightmare we call home. And I'm up here with my good friend and co-pilot, Sumting Wong, and he is here to make sure that the bowl stays loaded and that we fly straight and level across this beautiful plane that we live upon. I'd like to welcome everybody who's come here today. I see I got a couple of things in there. Wow. Okay. Everybody that's here in the chat here so far that showed up. Let me see. Do I have anybody over on Rumble? I don't have anybody in the Rumble chat. It does say I have 7 viewers right now. And over on the YouTube side, it seems like I have 38 to start with here. Looks like we've got Lowry's here, of course. Where else would he be? Is it the coolest place there is to be on a Monday night? And we've got Ironworks here with us. Roger Ledwell has joined us as well. I got Disclord backstage. We'll bring him up in just a moment as well. We've got JP with us, the True Few. Matthew Sinkow is with us too. Mojo Shop, good to see you, my man. Let's see who else we got. Something Simpler. I don't recognize that name. Welcome to the show. Brad and Tasha, both are one or the other. We are not absolutely sure at this given point, but that's okay. Either one or both are acceptable. We also have Coherence 888. Victoria Salt is here with us tonight as well. And let's see, Gonzalez, Saddlebum, good to see you, hon. And Jehovah's lovely daughter, Barbara, is here with us as well. Angela Baby Carson is here, which tells me also that I have a feeling Sean Alke is here as well. Let me see. Yep, there he is right there. I knew it. There's Sean Alke. I made a prediction. That must have been science. All right. Who else we got? Greg Brayton's with us here tonight. And not to be confused with Greg Braden, who is an author of some books and some pretty interesting information. If you ever get a chance to look into him, I have a few of his books. PJ Cruikshank is here. He's just finishing up a live where he covered the debate that I had earlier, or conversation rather, that I had with a fellow that I met on a Facebook Flat Earth group. And I asked him if he'd like to come on and do a live, and he's accepted. And one of the reasons I asked him was the fact that he was very cordial. And as you'll see, those of you that have watched it, it was a rare sight indeed, and does exemplify the difference between a flat earth hater and someone who just thinks the earth is a globe because that's what they've been taught their whole life. Okay, there's the difference. And what I think was really interesting, if you watch, you can actually see that my guest was Kent was his name. Kent was actually very receptive to the information, and you could see that he was actually considering it, which is that's the type of person that we're trying to reach. We're not trying to reach Craig McNeil. We're not trying to meet Mike Toon. We're not trying to meet any of those fucking people. Well, the people we're trying to reach are the everyday average individual that is under a spell of illusion as to how the world works, both cosmologically, as well as politically, as well as religiously, and everything else. They are in a trance. I'm going to welcome RG, the artist, up here. How are you doing tonight? Oh, and he popped right back off. Look at there. It must be my cologne. I don't know. So we got Roger in here. Let's see. Who else did I get? Nobody. It looks like we've covered everything. Everybody. So anyway, I had people back here backstage and they decided not to come up, but that's all right. They might be back. It's possible that they're having issues with their equipment. That seems to be a common theme on these platforms these days, especially when we're in. There he is. There he came back. You might have heard the familiar boop. There he is. Are you stable now, RG? Are you stable?
Yes, sir. How are you? There seems to be something wrong with StreamYard. Yeah.
Okay, I can do that.
How's
We
it
got
going,
Ironworks.
I'm
Yeah,
good, family. It's good to
here
see
too.
y'all, man. It's good to see y'all.
Hell
It's
yeah!
always
Did you
Yes,
happen?
sir.
Did you catch that discussion that I had with the Glober earlier today?
Yes, I
Mm.
caught the tail end of it, and I was driving, so I was trying to greet everybody and listen in, and it sounded like you guys there was no fighting, there was no battling back and forth. You know what I'm saying? And it sounded really good. I was
Such a
like, wow,
relief.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Well, I told the
Exactly.
guy. He told me afterwards. He said you made some very interesting points that I hadn't considered, and I was like, "Whoa, all right."
He's being
cool.
honest.
Yes.
You know what? It's a breath of fresh air when you hear somebody being honest.
Yes.
Especially from the globe in public. Like I'm like, wow. I'm like, this is amazing. It actually works. Somebody's actually being honest. This is what's up. I like it.
Well,
Yeah.
and there again, the seeds of the belief have been planted. Those will gnaw. Those will gnaw away at him, as it did me, until he actually goes, wait a second, okay, there's something fucking wrong here, and that's a hard one to swallow, because let's face it, on the psychological level, you were a little kid and they taught you the order of your planets, and they taught you about the solar system and all of that shit. And when you recited it back to them the way that they told it to you, they told you how smart you are. And then maybe the weekend came up and there were some relatives up and everybody said, hey, Vlad is really smart. Come here, Vlad. Tell grandma the names of the planets and how the solar system works. And grandma or Uncle Ted or whoever tells you, wow, Vlad, you're really smart. I think that one day you might be an astronaut or a scientist. So here on the adult plane, we carry that with us. And by taking that away from you, I'm taking away some of your smart. You see, that's how your subconscious views it.
Man, Sav, let me tell you something. When I'll never forget, I was 5 years old. And you're saying smart this, smart that. Well, my mother and my aunt were in the kitchen. They were baking a cake, right? And then my aunt was like, you know, his cousin Kevin, he knows how to spell his name already. And my mom was showing off. She was like, oh, Vladimir knows how to spell his name too. And I was like, spell? What the hell does spell mean? And then she was like, go ahead. Show your auntie vet how to spell your name. And I was like, okay. I didn't know what spell means. Then she gave me a pencil and a piece of paper. She was like, spell your name. And I was like, okay. I was like, H, X, Q. So sure there's a dash. I've seen a dash, 1, R, Z. Like I put everything I could think of. And she was like, you dumb motherfucker. I'll never forget that. You stupid. Where's your father? Yeah, man, I'll never forget that. So I don't know if my family would be so convinced with me being smart trying to recite the planet.
Right.
You know what I've learned from the stars and the planets? I'm going to tell you what I learned. You know, Betelgeuse, the big star. I learned if you say it 3 times, it'll appear and its head will spin around and it'll be 10 times as large as our sun, you know? Yeah.
RG, your microphone's a little hot. It's a little hot.
Oh, sorry.
You just lower the volume just a skosh is all you need. All right.
Do you guys want to know what I just figured out? Well, not what I just figured out, but what I just stumbled upon.
What's
that? A couple of things. So the first thing, I'll just discuss this one thing. I just saw, I was looking up world fairs, right? And so the UK had, or Great Britain had a world fair back in 1851.
Yeah.
To which I brought that book. I purchased that book, right? And then cool. I'm looking at it, and then they're showing the authors. Do you want to know who one of the contributors were?
Who?
Believe it or not, one of his kith and kin may very well be in this chat tonight. No shit.
Come on, what's the name?
Like Ripley's
George,
Believe It or Not?
I shit you not. His name is George Cruikshank.
Oh, wow.
No shit.
Wow.
And so there it is.
Who is that?
PJ's the last one to comment down there. Have to sleep.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, so I wonder, before you go to bed, PJ, I think you need to take a deep dive into that 1851 what is it? The Grand Fair or the Elite Fair, something like that it was called, right? And it was in Great Britain, and it was at the Crystal Palace, I think they called it.
That's
the
correct.
Crystal
Palace.
Yeah,
Right? Yeah. That they moved, that they ended up moving this big, huge thing. And then somehow it burned down. A steel and glass structure burned down.
Yeah. I thought I heard loosely in the air, something similar to that. And so this guy, George Cruikshank, was like he was like the Jim Schultz of his time. Jim Schultz, the creator of Peanuts and shit, right? So he used to draw, he used to do all these like satirical drawings and all these things. He was like a cartoonist and stuff. Many of his cartoons and a lot of the stuff that he drew it looked like a lot of stuff that you would have seen on remember Mystery on PBS, where they would have Poirot and some shit, and it was that cartoon that it looked so British how they used to draw it and shit. It looked serious, but at the same time it looked cartoonish. So this guy George Cruikshank drew much that similar style and stuff. So I'm looking at the name, I'm like, God dog, man, say it ain't so. Your dang kith and kin is probably a flat earther, and he's probably in this chat sometime tonight. It's crazy. So I think it's important that if George is still awake, hopefully he's getting a smoke right now, man. He could just do that research. You know what I'm saying?
You know, I think these World's Fair were another method that they used to sell the Caca del Toro to the, we said the word, Caca del Toro. That's
Doodle
one of
alert.
the methods they use to sell that with. The primary method, of course, is the conditioning of children. Okay. That is what first and foremost. And I don't care who you are, you were conditioned.
Yep.
That's for real. You were conditioned. Now, first and foremost, any of you that have little ones out there that maybe you're new parents and everything, don't talk to your kids with baby talk. Why are you going to make them learn one way to say something, then have to totally turn around and learn how to say it correctly? That's ridiculous. Speak to them as though you're speaking to someone else. But go ahead and simplify it. You don't have to be patronizing in your tone. And if the child looks inquisitive as to something you said, you merely break it down and explain it to them. This is what was done with me. And it freaked out neighbors, because here I was at like 3 and 4 years old asking neighbors who were just simply trying to paint their garage. Can you imagine a 4 or 5-year-old kid coming up to you while you're painting your garage and saying, "So, Vlad, what do you think of American involvement in Southeast Asia?"
Damn.
That would blow you away, wouldn't it?
I'd be like, damn, they sending these young kids in America to war already?
Yeah, I mean, for real. I mean, I knew, I was aware of that. And I, because I'd see some shit on TV and why is these people doing this? Why is this occurring? And my parents would answer me, tell me what was going on, what the current events were, and put it in a way that I can understand it.
Kids have a way of having emotional intelligence at a young age, and they're more mature than we think.
They're a fucking sponge, man. They're a sponge. They're taking it all in, man. This is brand new. Everything is brand new.
Yep.
They ask you the hard questions too. They ask the hard questions without even flinching.
Yeah.
And then it's like you kind of feel ashamed of yourself because you're like, man, why didn't I ask myself that question? And I think a lot of times it comes from a place of honesty too, that as you get older, you become a little bit jaded, you become guarded, and then we lose, a lot of us, and maybe all of us, right? We lose that ability to ask questions, truly ask the serious questions. That's and they come from a place of honesty, which I think the good thing about where we are is now we're starting to come back into who we were.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have to kind of see, I think we got to see that these kids are a little more damaged with these vaccines and stuff, and the 5G and stuff. We were different.
Be careful what you talk about. RG, be careful what you talk about. They're starting to clamp back down on that. They're starting to clamp back down on that, which is another indication that they're going to run another one on us here. And the timeline will be exactly the same. If you are not aware, back in October, at the first part of October, they had a bird flu summit in Washington, D.C. Now, prior to all the lockdowns and all the events that occurred in January of 2020, all the way up, was preceded by Event 201, which took place the preceding October. Okay, so I'm just looking at patterns here. They're already running stories about it in the news. They're already running stories about it here and there in the mainstream, getting people acclimated to it. It'll start to be a mainstream story, probably somewhere in the first part of January. Just like
have you seen the monkeys out yet? Have you seen the monkeypox?
They're talking about that a lot. I was just gonna say, I just read about that yesterday. They're talking about that shit again now, trying to get that up in the news.
Well, they had monkeys that had escaped from a biolab in South Carolina.
It was like
as far as I know, they haven't caught. As far as I know, they haven't caught them all. Maybe they need to get Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah, right.
He caught him the last time, right?
Hey, so I wanted to meet y'all with the World's Fair thing. I've been doing a little deep dive here just recently. What's amazing is when you look into New York and America, when it comes to the Victorian era or anything to do with the 1800s, it gets kind of fishy within a 300 to 400.
Murky as hell, isn't it?
Yeah. And so there are 120 Victorian structures that they have just now found, like separated, spread out through Houston. through Houston that clearly were built before, you know, the first industrial revolution. You're talking about what, 1875, as they want to say. Even our capital is one of those structures. So we had a fully colonized continent before the 13 colonies, y'all. That's monumental. So was there a civil war, or was there a takeover? Or if it wasn't a takeover, was it a founding? Or what did happen? That's the questions.
Well, in that, and let's look at these asylums. We have these asylums all spring up around the same period of time, all over the world. Now, could that possibly be for the remainder of people that would not accept the new narrative?
That may be it. I thought that one as well.
Yep. And you want to know something? This was something that was prevalent years ago. There must have been so many people that have witnessed the change, and they weren't ready to accept it. They weren't ready to get along, to go along. So you have everything was an asylum. Even when I lived in Sardinia years and years ago, they had so many different asylums. This seems like it was a concerted effort. It wasn't just relegated to, you know, the United States, Europe, and stuff like that. It seems like it was the leadership of all these different places. They agreed. They just got on board, and they were like, yes, this is what we're going to do. And so nothing's changed.
So would y'all,
I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
Would y'all say that once J.P. Morgan and evidently Thomas Edison came in, because you see what they did at the World's Fair. So they were the two that was getting Nikola Tesla to reverse engineer, I think, all kinds of fallen technology. So think about it. If there was a mud flood, how did he almost sink Manhattan? He was reverse engineering. He didn't know what he had. He had that oscillator. When he turned it on, when he finally figured it out, he almost sank Manhattan.
I think we are. I think though that we're in error when we call it a mud flood.
Right, I get it.
I would more suspect that it is mud floods. A series of catastrophic events taking place around the world around a period of time, such as we're seeing right now.
Right.
Flooding in the Sahara Desert.
Yes.
Massive amounts of flooding in places that have never seen that before.
Well, we're talking about a race.
Fucking New Mexico, for instance. I mean, come on.
Yeah. You're talking about a race that's technologically more advanced than we can even imagine, y'all.
Wait, what's this? Say that again. That
race of people that built those structures, you should see the temple in New York. Ironwork. I'm talking, dude. This is like I've got research. The structure, the inside wall structure is shaped like it's organs that's shaped with the walls, and all the organs are copper tubings. So when this sound resonates in it, it would vibrate the outside structure. There is Antiquitech. We all know that, you know, there were knights of shining armor.
Who's that background? Whose microphone is banging?
I don't know. Roger. I was going to say Roger Ledwell isn't up here. Usually that's him.
I think it's
RG, the artist.
No, mine's super quiet. Mine's quiet.
It's
well, your
doing
little
it.
avatar is lighting up
just
every
in case,
time.
let me mute mine just in case.
I was noticing RG's little avatar was lighting up every time I heard the noise.
Yeah, that's how we know. That's
New civil. Continue, man. You were saying something crazy. Go ahead, man.
Yeah. So they've noticed that, and I can show you some pictures of these structures, that they use sound to either emit or transmit energy. And they use these structures. Some of the columns were taken down. They dissected the columns. They had 5-micron carbon inner workings. They had field line continuums with different types of wiring inside these columns. And then not only that, the thing about this wiring that's in the columns, it wasn't drilled. They're polished.
Wow.
They're polished.
Yeah.
That's something we can't
that's
even
just it. So much of this doesn't fit the narrative that we're given. So much does not fit the narrative that we're given. That's the problem with a lot of this shit. And I think it's interesting that you called it a race.
It's all 3D printing from the past, and we're going back to doing the same thing again now.
There you go.
That's what I was going
printing.
to ask.
Yeah.
I was about to ask, do you think this could have been some kind of 3D printing?
Oh,
Because
yes.
like I'm looking at all these stone blocks and especially the marble. You see a lot of this marble too.
Oh my
and
God,
I'm like,
I
how
think
do
it was
you do
lasers.
that? Yeah, right. It could like I
Light.
don't even know. Like I've got a 3D printer
Light and
here.
energy.
Yeah,
Mhm.
something. Like maybe they had a way to shape something somehow, but
I get it.
whatever they were doing, it was my goodness. Like I'm looking at it
I got a theory
I
on
just came
that
from I
when you're
just came
done.
from so I don't know if you guys have been to New York recently. I drove through there a couple of days or actually yesterday. And as you enter Manhattan, you've got these huge columns. It's like I think it's the Board of Education.
They got the Supreme Court building down there too. It takes up 4 square city blocks in a corner. It's megalithic.
Exactly. It's huge. And I'm like, why is it that I've lived here my whole life.
Now you know.
Now I'm looking at this and I'm like, this is not. I was like, this makes no fucking sense.
None.
Makes no
None.
sense.
It's so out of the ordinary. Look, also in New York, there's a cathedral. Now look at that word, Iron.
Cathode.
Cathode.
There's a place that I drove past in Connecticut called Old Cathode Road.
Oh.
Old Cathode Road. No shit. And
That's
all of the New England states, they're all just littered with old world. So what I did was as I was driving through, I would stop. I'd slow down while I'm on the highway and I'd try to take a picture, but I would take a screenshot of where I was. I'd take a screenshot of my map, of my GPS map, and I would just take a screenshot, boom, boom. And every time I took a snapshot, basically what I was just letting myself so I could pass it off to everybody else. Like, hey, if you are in this area, just look around. All you need to do is look around here. If you're driving through or if you're in this area, look around here. You will find some old stuff. I think with all these channels like the Geomancies, the My Lunch Breaks, and all those guys, the Jared Boosters, all these guys, they can't do this shit by themselves. Like they do a good job. Don't get me wrong. They do a great job. But there's a lot more that we are going to have to start doing the research with and trying to start figuring out. Kind of
the time for arguing about it with
is over with.
The tunes and the and the FTFEs of the internet, that's gone. Okay,
no platform. I don't think they deserve a platform. Do you think?
Well, I'm not going to give them the time of day. They've been debated by multiple people. They bring up the same old tired ass points. Every one of them gets debunked and knocked down. And you know what the hell? So why?
I got a theory for you guys. When you're done, I'll enlighten your minds a little bit, if you don't mind. I'll take a quick second. I'll spout out some stuff and tell me what you think. Okay.
All right.
So these buildings that had the tall, the spires went down and they had metal in the walls. That's what these big fireplaces were, right? But this free energy flowed through the buildings, and you remember the buildings were lit up in these old, Tesla, these old cities, the great cities, where they were the red brick and the white brick would light up, right, with this flowing energy through the buildings. Now,
those bricks. Hold on, real quick, RG. Those bricks, the red brick is also it gets its red tint from the iron oxide that's in it too.
Yes. Yep. So what I was going to say is the closest, the oldest and closest, like the Indian cultures with the 3D printed building, they were just bigger. We were smaller. We got smaller machines. They had big machines, and they did print these things. And these metal and stone wrapped machines, they were machines because they turned, and these were like motors. Now, the closest and oldest, like the Indians cultures, were closer to the like Antarcticas And what happens at 32 degrees, it's frozen. At 33 degrees, things start thawing out. Think about that.
That's God dog, man. Wow.
Pretty crazy. Yeah, it would be it stands to reason that there was some kind of machining process taking place, that this wasn't done by human hands. The symmetry is too perfect. It's way too perfect. And like Vlad brought up, like a 3D printer. I've often looked at that marble sculpture, that one I forget what it's called, but it's this guy. He's wrapped in his fish net. He's got a big fishing net.
Oh, it's that Italian. It's that Italian or Greek one. I've seen. It's so finely detailed.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
how he could have gotten in and polished beyond the netting to do something like that. And I'm just going, no. This is something else. This was not chiseled away as we would believe. In fact, we know that in South America, there are native tribes down there that claim that they have a stone softening agent that they make out of certain vines that are in the Amazon.
What?
And I think that that's interesting, because when you look at some of those stone megalithic structures down there in the Amazon and South America, they're all these really weird shaped stones, but they just all seem to interlocked with one another. It's almost like they were pushed and molded like that and then let to harden. And like you said, we've gotten a lot smaller. Like RG said, I believe that to be true. Just biblically, not that this is truth or anything, but what I found out is that Adam was actually, what did they say? 60 cubits tall, which works out to be about 100 feet.
Which is what in Europe we don't know what you're talking about right now, unless we know the calculations.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's huge.
100 feet. That's a lot.
I know. Yeah,
it's still nothing to me right now, because I don't know feet.
Oh yeah. Hold on.
I don't use that.
Well, we got these conversion apps and everything over here that we have to use, because we have measurements and then we have gay measurement. So, no, I'm just kidding. I always say that. So,
okay, so it's 30. It's 31 meters. 31 meters tall. Yeah. I told you that was a lot.
Cool. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Was Honey, I Shrunk the Kids actually like throwing shit in our face?
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah, and what about the newest movie? What is it called, where they shrink humans down because the world is going under, and you're going underground into a fake environment and all that, living down there in a crappy world controlled by, all we know, it's shitty down there in the end. People fighting to survive in there, in this downsized world.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen previews for it. I've not watched the movie, but it's pretty much where you can.
Is that not Wahlberg in that movie?
Yeah, these people get shrunk down so they can live in a little model environment and shit.
Because the world is going under, they're finding a way to save humanity, making tiny versions of the world underground, inside mountains underground or whatever. They're just making the dome and the everything, underground, making a world.
We're the tiny versions, guys.
We've got to be, because if you think about it, like hearing about all these giants, and it's not, I'll be honest with you, like it's kind of clicking, but it's not clicking yet. But then once you add to the whole thing, the possible notion that this place has been layered and covered, and the stuff beneath is even bigger, I'm like, well,
there's an interesting thing. Why does nobody ever ask that? Why do we have to dig deeper and deeper to find older and older things?
Oh, I've mentioned it several times, buddy. We've been layered. Mud floods.
That's what I'm saying. It's like nothing is sinking. Things aren't sinking into the fucking ground. There's not layers of dust covering us all the time or anything. So what the hell is going on? Are these just artifacts within, various reset conditions that have taken place? Like, okay, let's wipe this shit out and try something different.
Yep.
No, that's not working. Let's wipe the slaves, and I think it always occurs. I think that it occurs when the slaves start waking up. When the slaves
now there's the true history, the good chronologists. They will show that every 140 years, and there's the Adam and Eve Project, the CIA. It became known about these resets, right? And they know that they're gatekeepers. And the Hopi Indians even talk about their cultures go underground every so often, and it's about to happen again with their belief system. And I believe that. But anyway, you look from top down Google Earth, and you will see big waves that cover everything, like on the beach. But yeah, it covers everything, and there's layers.
So
Yeah.
all we can do, though, this is where we got to be careful, because people start to get excited in this subject, and they start making wild ass claims as though that it's really that's how things happen. We don't know that. We only have evidence that contradicts.
But don't we have to make claims, though?
Right.
We have to make claims to test the claim.
You don't have to make
right?
claims. You don't have to make a claim. No, you
Hmm.
can
How do we
theorize.
get the proof?
Yeah,
You can
theorize and
theorize.
yeah, all day.
Okay.
Okay, that's better. Yeah.
I want to point out Coherence 888 said, where are the cemeteries and bodies from those who died? Well, something very interesting regarding that. There are various places with. Hang on, I'm sorry. Was my talking getting in the way of the interruption there? I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry, Sal, but was that what
I know.
you just
Let
said?
me finish my point. I
you.
know
I got
you
you. I
have
got you.
something you want to say. That's very
Whatever.
obvious. Let me finish talking.
I got
first.
you, brother.
So,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
all
Go
right.
ahead. You good, brother? Sorry.
So there are various places around the earth that we know that they have catacombs, especially like in Paris. Okay. Now in Paris, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of skeletons of human bodies arranged in various altars and decoration and the like. Now, the interesting thing is they're all at the same level of decay. They all seem to have been boiled as well.
Wow.
Okay. So that's why they lasted and not disintegrated and just turned to dust.
There's 6 million, by the way.
Now, where did they come from? Now they want to try and tell me that it came from, they had to dig up a cemetery. And I'm telling you that the cemetery they say they dug up could not possibly hold that many damn bodies in it.
Right.
That's no way. So what really is going on here? You see? And as far as like
energy harvesting.
Let's even look at today. You got this section in the newspaper that we call the obituaries, right? Every city has one. Every newspaper has one. And in there is a list of people that have died that day, or in some cases just that week, right?
All right.
And I mean, it's a good thing they all die in alphabetical order, or it would be difficult to find the obituary, I guess. But anyway,
right.
That means that there's a lot of people dying all the time, every day. Bodies are stacking up, right? This is why we have a funeral industry, right? And we have cemeteries. But let me ask you, have you ever, any of you ever seen a brand new cemetery? Have you ever seen a grand opening for a cemetery? Or somebody say, hey, my uncle was the very first person to be buried in this cemetery here. You never see it, right? Now let's even take into account, let's just say 50% or even 60% of the people that die, their last wishes was to be cremated and not buried.
Yeah.
That's still a lot of fucking bodies stacking up every day.
It's true.
But you very rarely pass by. Every so often you'll go by a cemetery and you'll see them conducting a funeral. You never see a new one open up. Now flash over to all the reports of human DNA being found in fast food meat. Huh.
Yes, that's crazy.
Are they connected? I don't know, but there seems to be a mystery as to what's happening to the bodies.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Go get some McDonald's right now and think about it.
I'm good.
Can I say one thing, guys? So there's a thing called piezoelectricity and bone and DNA. Yes. So under this, that's a theory. And what's crazy, Sav, about all these bodies and bones is that they're arranged geometrically and they're stacked like in an artistic manner. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, just to give you an idea, this is interesting too. There's altars built to pagan gods as well out of these bones. And one that I'll bring as a point of interest, we all remember Princess Diana.
Yeah.
And we know that the moon goddess is Diana.
Right.
And the different route that they took that night to escape the paparazzis, they took a route that went through the Pont de la Lune, the tunnel of the moon. On the 13th pillar, where the car struck and she supposedly died, is directly over an altar built of human bones in the catacombs to Diana. You can't make this shit up, man.
Does anybody know what her last interview was? Does anybody know what her last interview before she got chased?
No, what was it?
She was confessing to her friend who she was confiding in. It's a lady. It was a good friend of hers. She was telling about how the queen and the prince and all them were shape-shifting into reptilians.
Yep. That I know.
You know, and I heard stories that have come from lesser members of the court, that one of the rules was that if a woman of the court was on her cycle, she was not to attend the court because the smell of the blood would cause the queen to start losing her fucking shit and losing her shape. Now, of course, that's what I hear. But we go back through that family, and their line goes directly through the Saxe-Coburg-Gotha line, and to Vlad Dracul, Vlad the Impaler, Vlad Tepes, all right, who is called Dracul because he was of the Order of the Dragon. Order of the Dragon. So these people do, and we have so much symbology amongst the royals depicting dragons, even up to look at an Alfa Romeo. Have you ever seen the logo of an Alfa Romeo?
The big giant snake eating the guy sideways.
Yeah.
It's strange.
So you got to wonder, where's all this actually coming from? I'm of the ilk that where there is smoke, there is most definitely some kind of a fire. And when you've got a lot of smoke, that means that there's probably a lot of fire.
That's right.
And we got a lot of smoke.
Guess what, guys? Guess what? This is what's brilliant about these talks. We don't need Globers to have a neural network, right? We are powerful, man, together, and we need to get all these guys together. QHEF, all these creators, man, that we piggyback off of, and we contribute to. Right? We are great together, guys.
Exactly. We can take the information we have, we can discuss it, and come to viable theories and everything like that with it. As far as Globers and things like that, I'm afraid that we're at a point right now where the time to wake people up is closing to an end. If you haven't smelled the smoke of the cabin you're in on fire by now, I cannot help you, and you are going to burn. That's all.
That's right. That's right. It's like we've yelled till we were red in the face. You're absolutely right. Now it's like on to the next thing. And so just like RG said, I think as we put the information out, all we can do is hope for the best, right? And then we need to come up with another, all right, who's going to do the digging, or who's going to do the searching, or who's going to do the explaining, or who's going to do the piecing together, because it's like, all right, now that we figured this stuff out, like now it's good, I guess, that to come to that point, because it's kind of like that movie where they release those guys, or those guys escape the prison from Siberia, and they're out in the woods, and then they're like, all right, we escaped, but now is the real challenge, right? We're out of prison, but now we're in the prison of the wilderness. So that's kind of like us, because we're like, okay, now we've escaped the BS prison. Now we're in the whole world of we don't know, or we're trying to figure out. So how do we piece this part together is my question.
Right.
Well, we've got 10 years of research, guys, already. We got a decade worth of this stuff, And what I did with YouTube here, I got an X2. I have saved videos for a decade, bro. I've saved all the creators. I've got like 1,000 videos, bro. Like,
here's where we got to be real careful with videos. All right, especially in this day and age. Did I sound like a cop when I use that phrase? Here's the deal. In this day and age. So in this day and age, of course, and it's always been this way, that photographs, especially now, can be easily manipulated. Video and film can be easily manipulated. And having firsthand experience of the intellectual dishonesty of those that try to present those things to me, I can't use them as proof myself, as neither can they. All right. So what am I talking about? We can go on TikTok and we find all kinds of videos where look at this unseen 1936 footage of a Stargate in Atlantis down in Antarctica and all this bullshit. And it's all AI generated shit. And all it's doing is muddying up the waters. It's muddying up the waters.
Don't discount everything though. You know, don't do that.
No, you can't. But when all you have to do is put one lie in there. And you can't rely on anything. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
well, that's why we're smart together. We can do this together. You know?
So I'd say
it's just another way that they've used. In fact, the ability to manipulate photographs and video is how they sold the majority of this fucking globe lie to everybody. They did. They showed you a Hollywood production and told you it was really happening, just like they did with Trump's assassination attempt.
And people forgot. Everybody, Sab, you know what's funny is everybody fucking forgot about it. Everybody forgot about it. This is what I'm talking about. Like, people are so quick to forget about everything. It's almost as if our governments know how foolish and silly we are together. Right.
Well, of course, they made you that way. Of course, they know that. Of course, they know, Vlad. They made you that way. They made the people that way on purpose. It's always been a war for your consciousness, for your mind. It's always been that. And they know how to manipulate your mind because they molded your mind to be manipulated.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, it's a spiritual war, man, for sure. And like I said, man, good chronologist will narrow it down. It's just been that way, dude. Destructions and societies collapsing, and then things thawing out supposedly over there. So it's a cycle.
It reminds me of, if any of you caught that commercial that YouTube puts on for Expedia. That is the dumbest sales line I've ever heard in my entire life. Like empires, prices rise and fall. What does that mean? You could charge me just damn near anything you want? What is your point there?
Like humanity, races rise and fall.
That's right.
Got milk?
Hey,
what the fuck do you mean? Got milk? Why? Are you got tear gas in your eyes? What's your question? What is behind that?
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
I don't know, but people run to it. They're like, you know what? They got a point. I think I'm going to go buy some tickets to go to Vegas. No, they got a point.
Look what we need, man. We need something like a mass demonstration. Like, for one thing, the 14th Amendment says that you cannot tax anything that is unapportioned, meaning like gas or cigarettes. You can tax stuff like that, but people's earned income you cannot tax. So the IRS is completely fake. And let me tell you this: there was a woman.
It's not income.
Look, okay,
it's not income.
I don't know what you mean.
It's a wage. It's a wage.
Yeah. You can't tax wage.
A wage.
So,
is a
like if I build a deck for you or something like that, it's not the same as cigarettes. So what I'm saying is, there was a woman. I've got the videos. There was a woman that worked at the IRS. She quit because she found this out, right? And she had a $50,000 challenge for anybody that could prove her wrong. So she did these mass demonstrations by herself, and nobody could prove it, right? So we need to just not pay taxes, pay your land taxes, but not your earned income.
They've shut her up. They've shut her up since. She's been out for a number of years. They shut her up since.
Yeah, they did.
Okay. So what did I mean when I said that your wages are not income? Income is corporate gains.
Right.
Wages are a barter. Okay. Whether I work for you for a certain amount of food, clothes, and housing, or whether I work for you for money in order to buy those things myself, I traded my time, effort, and labor for a wage. There was a barter that took place.
Yeah.
There. Corporate gains
Well,
are built off of a form of usury, and therefore you didn't really do anything for the fucking money.
Mm-hmm. I got you.
All right.
Well, look, it's all debt. It's debt notes now. Anyway, there's no money. It's not money anymore.
Hasn't been since 1913. Well, actually, since 1933.
71. Oh, 33. Yeah.
They made it illegal. No, they made it illegal for you to have gold.
They took all our gold.
US currency.
I think that's when they started. I think it was 32 or 33 is when they started the Fed, right?
Well, 33 is when the United States declared bankrupt.
1913 is when they signed everything into law, right?
Well, that was
when everybody was out on, the Federal Reserve.
Right.
There you go.
Right. That was the Banking and Commerce Act, also known as the Federal Reserve Act. He gave the power once held by the people of the United States and put it into the hands of a couple private greedy bankers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You see how smart we are together, bro? We can snap. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I was just gonna say we're smarter together like this. You see how we remind each other of this stuff quickly, and we can do this, man. We got it.
Well,
that's how we got here. That's how we got here. All right. And Donald Trump talking about now this is going to be a problem. Look, people are getting their hopes up really high right now. Yep. The fat lady has not sung yet. Okay. Now the last guy that talked about ending the Federal Reserve or getting rid of income tax left half of his head in the middle of Dallas, Texas. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know. And then to go after a powerful conglomerate like Big Pharma, Robert Kennedy, have you not learned a lesson about your family legacy?
Yeah. No doubt, right?
It never ends well for a Kennedy.
But here's what I find interesting with all that, Saab. Yes. But the difference between the current guy and Kennedy is that Kennedy, if you look at it, he was trying to keep a certain country from getting nuclear arms.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And
that's another
building, building
nuclear arms and the bank. Because let's take a look real quick at who are the members of the Federal Reserve Chair Board. Who are they? Oh, they happen to be dual citizen Zionists.
Yeah. And not just that, but look at the previous ones. Look at the previous ones too. Alan Greenspan, I think he did 2-3 terms or some stuff like that. They used him multiple times.
They're not beholden to anyone, not the president, not the Congress, not anybody at all. They have their own police force.
And the thing is, there's a revolving door for the medical industry, FDA. They all just leave one spot and go to another. But the reason why I bring that up is because
revolving door, right? The revolving door.
Yeah,
you're talking about like where the CEO of Pfizer ends up being the head of the FDA and then
on the chair board or something.
To work for Pfizer and shit.
Yeah. And then the other important thing is lobbyists. Lobbyists with money makes us indebted to them more and more and more. That's why a debt clock keeps going. Right. Mm-hmm. And our bills say it's for private and public debt. It's a debt note.
Mm-hmm. For all debts, public and private. It says that on it. So the reality of it is that the debt could never be paid, even if you had the amount of money that it indicates that you owe.
Yes, and BlackRock and Vanguard own each other, stocks of each other. So there's really no owners but them. you know what I mean? And the revolving door thing. It's and listen, the reason why we have a democratic and a republic at the same time is because we had the original Constitution and we had after the Republican or the Revolutionary War, we were indebted to the banks, so they made a democracy. We had a republic.
That was done on
now we
purpose
have
anyway.
both.
RG,
Yeah,
that was done on purpose anyways, because the whole Revolutionary War was a facade. Okay. Nobody surrendered to America. We didn't defeat the biggest empire on the earth. We did not defeat them at all. And they sure as hell wasn't about to give up the resources and lands of North America. All right. We got to know this. In fact, the treaty signed after the war, bringing an end to hostilities, was signed by King George, and one of the many patents of nobility listed before his name is Prince of America. It's interesting that we filed as a corporation in London, England on July the 2nd, 1776, but didn't declare independence until the 4th of July, 1776. What?
Yes.
What are we doing here?
Yeah.
So when they refer to us as the Great Experiment, that's exactly what it was.
You want to know what's
Hold on one second.
You want to know what's crazy? You want to know what's crazy as well? Saab, like right north of you, over by the dang river, King George County, Prince Williams County, this one, that one. We haven't gotten rid of those names here in Virginia. Those names still stand. So it's like if you truly broke away from a nation, from a dictatorship or from a monarchy, you would scrap those names immediately. You wouldn't have
Maryland. Maryland. And isn't it interesting, just a little side note, that Washington, D.C. is nestled firmly right between Virginia and Maryland. We got Virgin Mary right there. What?
Right. Right. Hey, and listen, here's the thing about the straw man. We all have a straw man, right? We are a corporation. Each individual, they made us a corporation so they could exploit us. Now, here's the thing. There is the United States of America and the United States of America Corporation. Each state is the state of California and California state. They're two different things. There is a straw man over our country, right? Our country has a straw man as well.
Right. Yeah, this thing about RG, hold up before you go any much further. This is a way deep subject that we could go on about like all night, about the corporate fiction and that kind of shit. But basically, we're wanting to get into how do they sell the Caca del Toro to so many people so easily?
Entertainment. It's the entertainment, man. The movies just listen. I just finished watching Transformers 1 again. I love Transformers. I know it's bullshit. We know it's BS, but I love Transformers. I also remember how a couple of weeks ago we just had this comet show up in the sky. We had that A3.
Yeah, that
comet was in the sky. It was in the sky for like a month or something like that, right? Dude, while I was over there looking for the comet, I was like, let me look at my star walk. It's like the Star Walk app, right? Where it gives you basically based off of where you are, what your night sky looks like, right? And I'm looking for A3 in respect to, in respect to west, where the sun is setting. Why is it that they show me the planet Cybertron? And I'm like,
what? Cybertron? What do you mean?
Exactly.
That's the name of it? That's the name of it?
No, it's. I couldn't believe it. I'm looking at it, and I'm like, the planet Cybertron. What are you talking about? The planet Cybertron for what? This is an app that's showing me what's in the sky, and they're telling me that this star right here is the planet Cybertron, and I'm like, I was like, they got me all fucked up. We know that Cybertron doesn't exist.
Oh shit!
We know
Oh
it doesn't
shit!
exist. So what they do is they get the person that is still trying to figure out their life. And they're like, whoa, take a look at this. The planet Cybertron. Give me a second. I'm going to upload it and I'm going to send you. I took a screenshot of it too, by the way.
That is terrible.
Yeah. And I was like, this is what they do, man. I was like, they're so waylay with how they drop lies on people and how they confuse people. So this is just another method in which they use to keep the lies going. Because those folks, if you told somebody that this earth isn't what they think it is and that the place is flat and everything, they're gonna be like, hell no. Even though they had no reason to argue with you, they have nothing good to come up with to defend their argument. You know what they're going to think in the back of their mind, in the deep recesses of their mind?
I don't know.
They're going to think about Cybertron that they just saw on their damn Moonwalk app.
That's it.
Hey guys, while you're doing that, buddy, I'm gonna lay some truth on you, some hard truth, and we really got to think about this. Okay, I'm not speculating. This is true, and I just want y'all to think about it for a minute. Not everyone says neutrino detectors and all that's bullshit. Neutrinos, that they're just coming from the sun or whatever. And these domes, these basketball-sized things that they have embedded in the ice. Now listen, neutrinos are real. What they're picking up are bursts of energy from these vehicles that are fourth and fifth dimensional. Think about this for a minute. They're using the firmament as a worldwide radar. And when these bursts of energy come, they can tell where it's coming from because, listen, it's scalar waves faster than light technology. Okay? It's real. They don't want to tell us, though. It's in Antarctica, right? The technology. Yeah. But anyway, tell me what y'all think about that.
Now, when you said this is something, I think I made a video on this a few months back, that the earth seems to function much like the way what's going away, break the veil, what's happening, man? The earth seems to function like a radar would. It has, but based off of these theories that they're saying that something's bouncing off the firmament and colliding like XYs, making the sun and the moon a positive and a negative. If you look at how a radar functions, it functions much the same way. But instead of something coming from inside the parabolic dish, it's coming from the feed horn. And so it transmits top from the feed horn, or from the feed horn, it strikes the dish, and from the dish, it transmits. Yeah, it comes out. And so
you see, they classify words like neutrinos, and it makes us think crazy thoughts, right? But it's really just energy bouncing off the firmament, right? Yeah, and you can it's so fast that it could be all the way across the world in the other part of Antarctica, and it's being measured all the way over here on the other side,
Neutrinos.
That's an anomaly that's on all four Lagrange points. The fifth being and I guarantee you
neutrino sounds like an ingredient to a cereal to me. Like try new frosted fucks now with neutrino.
With neutrinos.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Just sounds like nutrients.
Yeah. Did you get them with neutrinos? No, I don't want it then.
No. And then
like the operation system for nutrients.
Have to have neutrino.
It's like, well, hit them with some particles, then with some electrons and protons. Get them good.
Yeah. There again, I need to actually. There's all these talks of atoms and particles and electrons and shit like that. And okay, that's a cool way to describe an effect, but are there really little particles? I don't believe so. No more than I believe that there's anything like one little particle of light that they want to call a photon. I think it's just our way of quantifying something. That's all. Nobody's ever witnessed these things, so we have to be real careful about that. I'm real hardcore on what I can see, what I can touch, what I can test. And don't start telling me about, oh, you can't see magnetism or radio waves. So I don't give a shit. I can still do manipulative tests that will indicate its existence and what it does. Okay,
but just don't let science fool you, though. But there is spirituality as well.
Of course.
You know?
Oh,
I think it's
all right.
closer to the spirituality than it is to the quantified. You know, something.
I stay away. I try to stay away when I'm discussing things like this. I try to stay away from anything that is not provable. Okay, I'm not going to make a claim. Now, I will claim that there is containment to the earth, but I don't make a claim as to its height. I don't make a claim.
You got to know the effect.
I don't,
you know, the effect of these things.
I don't make a claim of its composition either. I only know that containment must be in order to have what we have.
Well, what I'm saying is just energy. It's a measurement of energy, and it's fast, and it can be measured bouncing off the firmament. That's all I'm saying. You know,
that's like guy in the debate started coming up with background cosmic radiation. I was like, how the fuck they know it's coming from out in space and shit? How do you know it's not just coming right from the firmament itself?
Yep. And you know, it's a hard truth to have to deal with. But the more you immerse yourself with real people and the reality, and the more you start hearing the bullshit, like instantly you could just pick it out as bullshit. You're like, oh, they're full of shit. There they go, making it up. Right.
Watch my expressions when I was talking to that guy, because I just muted up and wrote notes as he was talking on each one of his points. I just wrote a note to each one of his points, and I let him finish his thing.
Hey, so what if I could show you?
Wait, you could watch. You can see me because I watched it back myself on PJ's channel, and I was watching it back, and first off, I went, "Holy shit! How'd my dad get on there?" And then second, I was like, "God damn, I talk and act just like my dad." And then the second thing was, you can watch. I can't hold him back. You can definitely see the expressions that I use because he starts talking about gravity and how it's working out in Narnia and all this other fucking shit. And I'm sitting here going,
Interesting. Tell me more, please.
Hey, has anyone seen 8K videos of stars, real stars? Like, let's just say the firmament is way up there and the stars are within the firmament, and I could show you pictures of satellite or video, let's say video from 1996, and just say you're up in the stars and the stars are close, and you could see that. And every time NASA would say, oh, there goes a shooting star, there goes a meteorite, and you could see that. What if they were just vehicles? They're stars, and there's vehicles up there in the upper atmosphere, and they live like things live in the bottom of the ocean. What if, they're coming out of the ocean and the military seeing them?
Or
what if I could show you a video? And you tell me.
Well, maybe they're just lights in the sky, and we don't know what they mean.
Sure. But if I could show you, would you? And I showed you something that looked like it was zipping by at 30,000 miles an hour. What would you think then? Would you
say, wow, there went a light traveling extremely fast across
but would you consider
I was going to say 30,000 miles an hour is so fast. I don't think we could actually comprehend when they say those speeds. I'm like, do they know how fast 30,000 miles an hour?
I'm saying it doesn't say 30,000 miles. I'm just saying it looks like that. But let me bring the video.
Excuse me, my bad. But even have that, like say virtually, say 17,500 miles an hour, the same one that we're given all the time. Like, even if I don't know if you've ever seen or heard the Concorde fly up above overhead. I figured back when we were younger, the Concorde would be a little bit more familiar with people because this was a civilian plane and stuff. But you would hear it right from miles away. And then the thing is you look up to the right. Meanwhile, it's like way over there. You're like, holy shit, where is this thing? And it's it's gone, but you done heard it already.
We get fighter jets that come practicing through our valley right here sometimes, and you'll hear them. And I've learned from when I lived out near the China Lake Naval Air Weapons Station, wherever you're hearing it from, look ahead. Look ahead of that sound. Look way ahead of that sound, because that plane is way ahead of that sound you're hearing. Absolutely.
I'll be back. I'm gonna bring that video for y'all. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be
we might show videos on here tonight. We might not. So
yeah, hurry up, RG. I want to show you. I want everybody to take a look at the pictures that I took of Cybertron.
Apparently. Right. Let me real quick now, because they've been waiting so patiently and they haven't had a chance to say shit. Break the veil. Sebastian and Disclord is with us here tonight as well. So welcome. What's on your mind, guys? We'll start with Disclord. He was here first. What's going on?
All rightio. The whole thing with what you were talking about, what did you call them? The something fair? Those places.
The World Fair, or the
World Fair,
I think. Yeah.
Yeah, in my world, I don't think they built anything. They just didn't show anyone that place, and or it was there. They might have fixed it up a little, blah blah blah, but that was just a test run to see if whatever could run an already electric city. If they,
right.
So they just wanted to remove that place and made a good excuse to use it for some bullshit. Make it look nice and make people happy and have a good experience. And then here we go back to nothing. We remove it and we say it was never there.
Can I interrupt just for 1 second?
Of course.
It was also a way of conditioning the people into the way things are. It wasn't just about the technology and machinery. Did you know that the foods that we eat right now as like national dishes or stuff that's famous in your country and shit like that was first introduced to people at the World's Fair? They taught them, they conditioned them of what you're supposed to eat for your different meals based on where you live. That was all introduced at the World's Fairs.
Yeah, they knew what they were doing. And what's the other thing?
Why do we eat eggs and bacon? Why is that breakfast? Why is that not dinner? Why is that not another meal of the day? Who decided that eggs and bacon are breakfast?
Yeah.
Well, primarily Madison Avenue, because that's how they sold it. Wow. Same thing with peanut butter and jelly. Nobody eats peanut butter and jelly for breakfast. Are you crazy? Why? Breakfast just means first meal of the day. But anyway, go ahead, Disclord.
Yeah, but that was it about that. And then there's a lot of places in the world where you have big, mountain structures in the middle of the city, which is surrounding the city, and it looks like it's part of the city, and it actually shows that people like Paul Cook, also a YouTuber you should all know, Paul with an A. He says that, and he's showing it. He shows that they're using polymer to literally just the outside of the whole building as it is. Old buildings, they just they what's that, like on the outside they just put polymer on. It looks like real stone structures and stuff. They just put polymer on. They hide the old buildings in polymer and make them look like
stucco and facades. So just
it's all facades. Yeah, it's fake facade, and there's a whole building inside, a whole old mine structure underground the building too, to dig it out, and they do that. I think most mining operations in the world has been digging out the past and then just dumping it or letting people die down there, so they couldn't figure out that what happened. Kill those 55 people down there. Make a good story about it. We all love and cry about later.
Well,
but they
it's
will
not
die
hard
down
to
there
do.
hiding what happened.
Disclord, it's not hard to do. Let's think about all those people during the last 4 years and the events that were going on that were all down for incarcerating people who did not accept the narrative, people who wouldn't go and get the experimental thing done to them. These people were calling to have them rounded up and put in camps. Some even calling to just kill them because they're just always going to be a danger to us and shit. So it's not hard to get people on board with some shit like that.
Nope.
Not at all.
They have the camps. They're already setting up the camps. apparently this is the thing that's been going on for some time. Is that they've been setting up these camps, and they were actually, just like you said, Saab, they were planning, or people wanted to put many of us in these camps because we refused to get along and go along.
Well, those camps have been around for a while now. You have to understand, we've been broken into FEMA regions. You and I are in FEMA region 4, Vlad. And these camps have been around for quite a number of years.
Yes,
what are they actually for?
They used to bring, I used to stop at a train, like a train crossing, and there would be rows and rows of tanks and armory cars, and like they got all those black, like grave things, like
I'm not convinced those are grave liners. I'm not convinced those are grave
What about
liners.
Walmart's?
They
What do you
look.
know about the Walmarts?
Hold on a second, man. Those things that people show online where it's, look at these grave liners. Okay, that's been around for years and years and years. Those things are sitting outside still deteriorating.
You're right. You're right.
Thank you.
You're right.
So I think they really are just by their shape and size unsuitable for what they want to do like that. I mean, let's face it, in Michigan, we had a problem where fire retardant, this was when I was a kid back in the 70s, fire retardant called PBB was somehow accidentally mixed in with some cattle feed. Because, you know, shit like that happens all the time. You're always keeping your fire retardant right by your fucking cattle feed, of course, right? All right. So what they ended up having to do, and I think they made a TV movie about it with Ron Howard, they had to get these cows that are these farmers whose cows were infected with this PBB. And they made them put them in a clay-lined pit. And they shot all of the cows and killed them all and then buried it. You see, it's not cost effective to put the bodies in a box or so that they don't decompose or whatever the case may be. Your only concern would be the leaching out of that into the water table, and that can be easily remedied with a clay-lined pit. So no, they're not going to take and individually bury each person or anything else like that. Notice we don't know who any of those people in the fucking catacombs are at all. We don't know who any of those people are. There's no memorial to them. There's no names. There's nothing. Okay. So they give as much a shit about you now as they did then. That's it.
Yo, let me show you guys. Let me show you guys what if you don't mind.
Second, I'm gonna let Sebastian talk for a minute, and then we'll bring up your material. You can go ahead and put it backstage, though.
All right.
Oh, hey, what's going on, man? I joined in on the conversation a little towards, this section of it, so I'm just kind of wrapping up, but I came in and heard a bunch of y'all talking about all these radio waves and frequencies. I said, ooh, that's juicy. I'm telling you, back when you were talking about, 4 years ago when they threatened and did all that, what do you think they were doing while we were all sheltered? We're putting all this shit together, man. And you're talking about the camps. That's why I was actually looking at
those purple fucking street lights.
The lights.
Find out what blue light can do. Find out what blue light can do, and then ask yourself, how come your social apps are blue? What the fuck's up with that?
Oh yeah, that's one blue light that hurts you bad, right?
Very
Like
true.
light almost in high enough dose.
Yes, our TVs and phones are blue light as well, technology.
It's funny because I did a video on that because it's called Duke Electricity, right? Duke Electricity, they were selling for, I think it was around $60 or like $80, something like that. Right before this craziness happened. As soon as this craziness happened, right, with the, the cocoa and everything, what they did was, and right there is the, hold on. Let me just keep talking, and then I'll
no rush on the illustration. We're not talking about the illustration yet.
Yeah. So what they did, what ended up happening was everybody they shut everything down, the queues where people were inside the house and everything, and then that company that I just mentioned, Duke Electricity or Duke Electric, they claimed they were going around, they were just changing the street lights. Right? Because it was due for a change. but all those street lights nationwide, and then there were some street lights that they were just blue, or they were just this purple, like a black light. And then you know what they said? They said, we made a mistake. As soon as they said we made a mistake, their stock shot up from like $60 to $90. It was like, I swear to you, it was like clockwork. You saw the stock price just shoot up.
Dude,
it was just like I thought it was going to be like an impulse buy or something like that. I was like, oh wow, it's going to come down. It's going to come down. It didn't come down. That thing took off. It ain't never seen the bottom since. Right. And Duke Electricity, you figure, because they screwed up big time, especially nationwide, they would be punished for it. No, they were doing exactly what they were scripted to do.
Yeah.
And so with that, they said, oh yeah, all you have to do is tell us where the mistake was, and we'll come in, we'll clean it up. They haven't cleaned shit up, man. And so from there, I moved over to Whidbey Island, Washington, right? Because we saw it already we saw it in Maryland and stuff like that. We saw it in northern Virginia, close to the Maryland Virginia border, right? And then what I experienced in Whidbey Island like a year later, and the thing is, Whidbey Island, Washington, Mark Sargent lives out there. This place is isolated from it's removed from the continental United States and only adjoined because of a bridge. Now, Whidbey Island, Washington is, like I said, removed from everything else. So why would they be putting those bulbs on a place where old people just go to die? Old people just go to retire. Well, that's where these bulbs started showing up as well, and I did a video on it. And I'm like, what the hell? Wow. You've got this thing here on Whidbey too? And so it made it from all the way to the East Coast to the West Coast. And the stock, if you look at Duke Electricity, they're one of the better buys in the stock market these days. It's unreal.
Isn't that crazy? So yeah, they did as Sebastian was illustrating so greatly, that they did use that opportunity to put in this infrastructure of weaponized frequencies and light.
Yeah,
100%. And also look at, now, I just saw a thing the other day where a whistleblower claiming that they're using nerve agents in those chemtrails. And I got to thinking about it. I was like, oh my God, they're microdosing us with fucking sarin gas. Wow, no wonder everybody is acting more and more fucking crazy all the time, right?
Well, sarin gas. What do you mean?
Here,
what do you mean by that, Sub? Because I know they do barium and aluminum all the time, but what is the sarin gas about? How do they do that?
Sarin gas is nerve gas.
Yeah, but how do they do that? I'm like, what do you mean?
Aerosolize it.
They aerosolize it.
Like from the plane? Like,
parts per million.
Yes.
Wow.
And it's just a small amount, but I was thinking about that the other day, like the same as microdosing psilocybin, or ayahuasca, that kind of thing like that. But in this sense right here, and I'm looking at the level of crazy people are getting to. Do you realize there's people right now openly calling for the deletion of Donald Trump on social media, right? They're openly talking about if your husband voted for the man, here's how you poison them.
We're going to kill their husbands.
Okay?
Yeah,
I'm still talking, I'm still talking.
Okay, I didn't know.
Well, yeah, when there's sound coming out of my mouth and the lips are moving, that means that's an indication of talking, right? Okay, thank you. So that's a level of crazy. We've now, because of a protest to RFK, you've got people put in, I don't know why these crazy sons of bitches got to put out a video of themselves being unhinged. So now we got people drinking oil. We've got people literally drinking seed oils and shit on camera to protest RFK wanting to get rid of seed oil because it's harmful to human health.
Oh my goodness. And I can see RFK I could see. I hope he doesn't, but I could see him coming out being like, "If this continues, I suggest that we start taking this and regulating it off the internet. There's no way in hell these fucking idiots could be sitting there drinking oil and protesting me. I'm an American, damn it. I did nothing wrong. I don't deserve any of this."
The crazy thing is, the only thing with the oil is the oil is made wrong, man. It's been produced wrong. Most oils are extremely healthy, made right, and a lot of them shouldn't even be made no matter what, because they're poison even in natural form. So that's just a big discussion on doing it right or not.
I just want to go on record and saying that Vlad is like our own Rich Little of the internet. This dude, so far, everybody he's impersonated cracks me up because it's like, dude, we're taking this on the road, Vlad. We're gonna take this on the road. I'm gonna manage this. No shit.
Hey, when you get done with those, Sub, I did put that in the chat, in the personal chat here. The video I was talking about.
Let me take a look at it because I have to be careful of.
It's nothing. It's just dots in the sky. I mean, that's all.
That's really not the point. It always depends on where it came from.
I got you.
I have to be really cautious about what I show on YouTube, not so much on Rumble, but on YouTube. Every time you do something that's got a copyright fart crossways to it or something, they want to send you some shit about, you used 4 seconds of somebody's song and this is banned in some territories. And I'm like, what in the fuck? They sent me a thing. They said they couldn't monetize my channel because I talk about controversial subject matter that is harmful to people. Okay. And I'm still waiting to see a death certificate with the cause of death listed as controversial subject matter. Man. I've never heard of anybody being injured or dying from controversial subject matter. Just
this has been on. It's been on YouTube. It came from YouTube.
Let's let Vlad do his thing here.
Yeah. So, Sav, what I was gonna say is, like, push your Rumble channel hard. Push your Rumble channel. I don't know how else to make sure your thing, because they had me take my stuff down because I had a gun in the back. You know what I'm saying? They were like, because you had a piece in the back, we had to, and that was 1 week. And then another time they were like, because you were talking about the Cocoa Krispies, we had to take it down. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, you know what? Before you know it, they're going to take all of them down because I was talking about the J3s or this one and that one. And I'm like, whatever, man. Take them all down for all I care. The truth is still going to get out. It don't matter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I think they're trying to.
When you cut out a man's tongue, you do not prove him a liar. You only prove that you fear what he may say.
Exactly.
I think they're just making us think we have all these open platforms now, like X and all that, and it's all just a scam to see how deep we go right now, so they can get the plans, even more specified. They just want to see who's the enemy right now, and they're picking us out soon. They're coming for us in some way.
It's a sorting algorithm, man.
Exactly.
They're sorting us out.
Yep.
Okay. That's okay. I'm ready. Come for me. Yep. Come for me. Let's play. Yep. Send bachelors and bring your own body bags. I don't want to make widows. Okay. So send only bachelors and bring your own body bags. That's my advice.
Shit. Man, we had some crazy times. But here it is. This is I think this was at the end of September. I was going out there looking for Comet A3. And this is what I was blessed with. They were like, oh, by the way, Cybertron, if you look right there, you'll find Cybertron. I'm like, oh, you motherfuckers. No, I won't. What are you talking about?
No, is it supposed to be a planet, Vlad? Is that a planet or something?
You've never watched Transformers?
Cybertron, I have. Are they just doing a thing like,
I think so. Transformers 1, right, came out at the end, like the first day of fall. And I guess to celebrate the premiere of Transformers 1, they put the planet Cybertron out there. Kind of like, say, Superman came out with a movie, they'd be like, hey, there goes Krypton right next to freaking Alpha Centauri.
So it was sort of the equivalent of like how NORAD tracks Santa Claus.
Yes.
I got you.
Yes. Yes, but I'm just saying, I'm like, this is so disingenuous of them
Well,
because
FTFE will believe it.
oh yeah. Well,
That
if you look
motherfucker
over
lives in
here,
sci-fi world,
how
man.
do you how do you even know if that's not the Cybertron? And it's like, oh bro, come on, man. Wake up.
I know. Citation, please.
Yeah. You know, but yeah, man, there it is right there. And I'm like, oh man. So every night I'd go out, but the sky was way too bright, and it was just it was just too much. I was like, man, I'll come back tomorrow. And every night I came out, the sky was just too bright for me to see the comet. I'm like, forget it, whatever. There will be plenty more comets every year in more open space. And then this is of course Cybertron right here, up close and personal. And they were serious about it. I'm like, wow. And they wonder why, you know, people are fooled so easily in this world. And it's because they do shit like this. And I wanted to make sure I kept this on record.
Deception, Vlad. It's
exactly.
that perception deception. Yeah,
it is. And we know. See, we know. Everybody with sense knows that this is fake. But this is all they have to do. Is they just have to just poison the well just a little bit at a time. That's it. And it'll be like, oh, we're just joking. We're just joking. We're just joking. And the more you see it and the more sense people bring to you, they're like, no, that's not possible. Of course, everything in the sky is something that you could land on, and this one and that one, because in the back, in the recesses of their mind, they'll always be thinking of, well, I did see Cybertron on my app and I know it's fake as fuck, but you know what I'm saying? So you take that off.
For all those who are so sad about it not being real, it will be when you get your neurotech brain chip and all that in the future, and you can join any world you want with Elon and all his friends.
Yeah.
You know, Trump is gonna be there too with a big throne on his head. You know, he's gonna be a king in there. You know, trust me.
And then in reality, you're just standing there all fat and pasty with goggles on, drool running out of your face and shit, eating corn chips, you know, living this lavish life inside this fantasy. And this is basically what they've already done to us. We're already in a fucking illusion. So they want to place you into an illusion within an illusion.
Oh.
That's their only recourse at this point, because it's their only recourse at this point, because the illusion is fading. The illusion is not working anymore for some unexplicit whatever reason.
I know what you mean.
For whatever reason, inexplicable reason.
Oh, sorry.
There is a large portion of our population that is shedding away the scales from their eyes and seeing what is really the case, as opposed to the illusion that we've just woken up from. Unfortunately, there are people in that illusion that are never, ever, ever going to come out. There will be casualties in this. There will be casualties. I'm sure that everybody on a landing craft on D-Day was hoping that everybody on that landing craft made it to the beach safely. They didn't, but they were all in hope of it. That we are on those landing craft. Okay, imagine you're on a landing craft with 14 other dudes that don't know what the fuck is going on. Who's going to be the casualty? Not me.
You know why, though? You know why that happened, Sav? Because there was something wrong with the people. Something wrong, man.
Always something wrong with them.
Wrong.
I'll tell you, man.
Wrong invasion. Wrong invasion, RG. This was in Europe. Now, when we went into Okinawa, that was something wrong there.
But this is largely like I said, man. It always comes to just the basics of it is coming back to some point of honesty. Like we have the lying invasion that usually trolls our channels. We know what it is, right? And I think it's great that this person shows up. This is why I let this person get audience. I give them audience. I give them the time to speak. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, you are the epitome of what it is we're talking about. You are the living Baphomet. You know what I'm saying? Everything that opposes life, everything that opposes truth, everything that keeps the truth from reaching people's ears, like you represent that. So please talk. Talk. All you have to do is talk, and everybody will see you for what you are and see what you're doing for what it is. And the thing is that when you pair that with, I'm not trying to start stuff with people. Please, folks, don't get me wrong. I'm really not trying to start nothing with nobody. But when you pair that truth with what's in front of you, how can you deny it? That person usually would come to my channel and start, oh, this is what you voted for, blah, 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 talk this and talk that. I'm like, hey, man, at the end of the day, you are the reason things are jumbled up. People are confused, and like you represent confusion. You are the embodiment of what confusion is, and people need to be aware of it. People need to see what confusion looks like.
Absolutely. Well, here, let's take a look at what some of this conditioning and this perception deception, along with whatever the fuck they're doing to people to make them so fucking crazy of late. People heard, because they've watched like CNN or MSNBC, and they believe that they're actually getting actual information, right? And so they lost their mind when the election didn't go the way that they had been propagandized to think that it should go. And they believed things like a girl I knew from school. She goes, "This is really terrible. My rights, my bodily autonomy is in jeopardy because of Donald Trump." And I said, "How is your bodily autonomy in jeopardy from Donald Trump? Are you going to not be able to go get a tattoo if you want to, or get your ear pierced, or change your hair color, or what's he doing?" And it came down to, well, he's taken away my right to an abortion, my body, my choice. I said, I agree with you 100%. Your body, your choice. And if an abortion was indeed your body, your choice, you would be the one that ended up not living. Okay? That's how that works. That's a different body. That is not your body. That inside you is another body. That is another person. And killing that other person is a thing we call murder. And more precisely, it's called infanticide.
That's the truth.
When it comes to the big R word, I think there's there's a question to be asked there in that case. Some Christians would say it doesn't matter how you got pregnant, you should still just have the child. I don't know, man. When it's created in evil energy and intention, I don't know.
That's not for you or any other man to decide. You do not bestow life. You have no right to take life away. Yes, you and another co-creator can include the ingredients that are required for a new life, but you do not bestow that life, and therefore you have no right to take that life. That is natural law.
That's the hard part. That's the hard part about telling the truth about things, is that if you're going to do one thing, you have to follow through all the way.
Yeah.
Like, and and you have to be consistent with these things. And I think this is where we lose ourselves, is in that certain things sound like they're right, or certain things seem right, or they just are right. But then once we get to a certain point, we're like, all right, I don't know if I could do that. But the thing is, it's the truth. And either you're going to follow the truth, or you're going to follow something different, which something different is not the truth.
RG's like busting a fucking seam to say something, man. Let him talk. I think he's going to fucking blow up.
I think somebody's going to stop talking, man. I'm sorry, dude. I got bad timing. I'm sorry, bro.
Extremely
bad. Isn't Donald Trump? Oh, fuck, man. I'll just stop talking, bro.
No, go ahead.
RG, go ahead, bro. Go ahead. No.
I mean, I don't want to be an asshole like I'm jumping in. I don't mean to be like that. I'm sorry, bro. I got bad timing.
It almost seems as though you're not really paying attention to what's being said.
No, I'm listening.
Anxiously waiting to say something that you want to say, and that's fine too.
Well, no, it's to the point. It's what y'all are saying. It's to the point. Isn't Donald Trump also saying that he's trying to stop this transgender movement with kids, and it leads into that as well as a man trying to be atrazine and have a baby and shit. Like he's trying to go to the extremes like that as well. But it's a good extreme, I think. It makes sense. Now, if someone's raped out of like lust of Baphomet demonology shit, like I understand maybe a girl can, that shouldn't be illegal there,
There is
Well, I'm
no
gonna be
way
honest.
that man can make such an act legitimate. There is no way. It goes against God's law. That woman has the choice. If you want to talk about pro-choice, you have that choice. You can put that child up for adoption. And there's a lot of people out there looking for babies, especially this day, since there's seems to be a fertility issue going on amongst modern women worldwide right now. Really bad in Australia right now. So finding a home for the baby would not be any problem whatsoever. What we do need to do is get rid of the human trafficking organization called the Child Services that are not doing what they should do and are actually creating a big web of bureaucracy, making it extremely difficult for willing, able, and wanting parents to adopt children that are not, for instance, the woman's just like, look, I'm in a situation here. I cannot afford this. I have to do it, regrettably, right? Okay. First off, we have to look at, why did you get into that situation in the first place? You got into that situation because you had loose morals. That's why.
Sovereign, I think you should check the comment from Rachel.
Where's Rachel? I suppose you think parents force their kid to be trans, absolute experts up there. No, kids don't think about it. Kids don't think about it. Kid comes up and says, I'm a little girl. A kid might come up to you the next day and say, I'm a tree or I'm a squirrel. You don't reaffirm that stupid belief into them. You keep them grounded in realities. No, Billy, you have a penis. You're a man. You're a boy. Okay, you're a boy. Boys have penises. Girls have vaginas. Okay, this is something that you learn really, really young. Now, to foster the child's whatever imagination or something as a reality, that in itself is child abuse. Okay. Yes, I know about trans. It's a form of crazy. Okay.
And I mean, the thing is there comes a point where you have to just draw the line and be like, look, man, and this is part of, again, telling the truth. You're like, no, you're not no dang girl, dude. You're a dude. Like, stop, slap him upside the head and then knock some sense into him a little bit. But I mean, when you say this these days, you can't. There's this level of tough love that is not allowed in this country. This is
I'm
why
not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be mean. Okay.
It's you
I
love
took
your
biology.
kid.
I took a lot of biology courses in school, right? And I've learned a lot of other things about biology since then, right? And I know for a fact that, okay, so you may feel like you are a woman. You may have feminine feelings. That makes you effeminate. It does not make you a woman. And I'm not going to pretend that you are. The best I can do is an effeminate male. Now, if you truly believe that for some reason that your chromosomes got fucked up and you're actually supposed to be a girl and you go off and mutilate yourself in order to make yourself simulated like a female, when it comes down to it, the only thing you have become is a mutilated man. That's all.
When you die, you're going to, even in death, your body will transform back to its original state to some degree.
Yeah.
And look how they don't allow us to use the word freak. How many things does that actually perfectly describe? And it's
something
not a bad
that goes against the normal. Something that goes against the normal. That's the definition of the word. It doesn't necessarily
freakish behavior.
Yes. Yeah. Well, like drinking fucking canola oil or sunflower
mutants.
oil.
You can
shit,
use that word too now. There's so many mutants out there in different ways, and that's not a bad word. It's a word.
Look at this. Look at this character.
Perfectly.
I want to show you this character. These people are actually doing this. Now they're going to cause a toilet paper shortage.
Why? Why?
No.
Oh my God.
Delicious. Don't be a pussy.
Are you shitting me?
Hey, Rachel, man, what's the deal, man? What's going on? She sees a panel of
I was just gonna
that
say
word up there. Probably can't say it. Lord knows.
Well, Rachel, that's where is this hostility coming from?
I think Rachel is
I was just gonna say it must be coming
regardless
from
of
a
what
personal.
Rachel is,
with
I'm trying to figure out
Well,
why is
I
there
think
hostility.
well, she's basically probably mad because everybody really has the right to do whatever with their body. What's not right is politicizing it and using this shit against kids. That's fucked up. There is trailers full of trafficked kids every day that probably are making something believable. You know,
But here's
whatever.
the thing,
Yeah.
Rachel. No one gives a shit that you're calling us anything. Okay? No one cares. That's what you need to understand. All right. I am what's known as a sigma. You've heard of alphas, you've heard of betas, you've heard of gammas. I'm what's known as a sigma. Okay. And sigmas don't give a flying fuck if everybody calls them a name. I don't, because your erroneous opinion has absolutely no bearing on my existence. So if you actually have a point to make, you're more than welcome to click the stream link and come on up on the panel.
There we
go. Yeah, please do so. Please do so. We do have time for a comical sketch too.
No, because I'm just saying, look, here's the only things. I don't want no drunks. Right. First and foremost, if you've been drinking, don't even fucking consider the link.
That's right.
Don't even.
You know, since you say that, Paul, I guess I'm a Sigma too, because I don't give a fuck either. You know what? I love being able to encourage people, do right, sportsmanship, whatever it takes to motivate people nowadays. I'll do that, but don't come at me like I'm crazy because I know I'm a man with a fucking dick. Come on now.
Well, I mean, the reality of it is this. Look, if you want to come up and you've got a point to make, that's all well and good. As I said before, if you've been drinking, do not bother coming up. Okay. Secondly, if you do come up, observe conversational decorum. Okay. Nobody needs to call each other names or anything else like that. You just lay out facts. That's what we do here. Okay. We lay out facts. And what is true, what is not, what is logical, what is illogical, what is part of the grand illusion. Welcome to the grand illusion. Come on in and see what's happening. Right?
Yeah.
The grand
illusion.
Well, the main thing about all that is that
have you ever listened to that song? Have you ever really
substance-
listened to the words of that song? The Grand Illusion by Styx? Oh boy, listen to it. Listen to it.
All right.
It talks about how your whole perception is guided by the TVs and the TV movies and magazines and shit.
It is. Even in our conversation, think about it. Everything, and I've mentioned this before, even the small things that we say in conversation, we refer back to a movie. Like people could be like, oh, I wonder why the government is doing this and that. Somebody would answer, it's about the money, Lebowski. You know, somebody's always going to refer anytime in conversation just to like make a shortcut. Somebody will always refer to a movie.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
Exactly.
I got a movie. Hey, Aaron. I got a movie that it perfectly it perfectly defines what the trans movement and the LGBT being, publicized.
Oh yeah. It's part of a Marx. It's part of a Marxist agenda.
I've got a movie.
If you want to know where it comes from, read the Communist Manifesto.
Yes,
if you want to know where it's coming from, read the Communist Manifesto by Karl Marx. It's a method of destroying the national, personal, and sexual identity of a culture in order to insert your own version of it.
That's a good point. What I was going to say is there is this movie called The Matrix. It was a documentary with Morpheus and Neo. And you remember that scene where the lady in the red dress walks by? Well, I've got a version of that that it uses people with colored hair, and he's explaining. It's an AI rendering of when that scene happened. Well, it's LGBTQ, and Morpheus is going into understanding and educating Neo, right, about what's going on in today's times, and it's beautiful. I would love to show it here if you want to do that stuff later.
Angela Baby Carson, are people going to judge me because you got a boob job? What do you mean by judging? I would merely have to say, why were you worried about the perceptions of others about your physical body? Why were you worried about it? And why did that matter? See, I look at it like this. It's an indulgence into the earthly at the expense of the spirit, is all. I'm not saying you did anything wrong. I'm just saying you need, I would examine the reason behind it. What was it about yourself that you were not comfortable with, and why were you uncomfortable with it? And the chances are it was probably your perception of what other people thought, or perhaps you worried about what other people thought and they'd actually vocalized it to you. Those two reasons alone are the only reason to doubt yourself as a child of God, made the way that you're supposed to be for this experience.
Should I
one
use
thing.
my admin rights? Should I be muting this, Rachel? Because it's just disgusting now.
Well, listen, guys, listen.
Let me
It gets lost in the minutia. Like they'll get lost in the minutia. They'll go from, about abortion to a boob job, and then they'll say, well, can I cut my toenails a certain way and paint them? Like, are you going to judge me for that? It's the minutia.
Always pushing the envelope. And that's human nature, to push the envelope. As far as Rachel is concerned, unless she says anything completely out of line, I say let her stay in the chat, entertain the audience with her nonsense.
About the audience.
And the link is still there. Rachel, you're only making a fool of yourself because you're talking
because apparently Rachel would like to see us bitches in real life. For which reason?
Why? You would wait a second. Did she say that? Did he say that?
Oh yeah, that was in the chat.
Okay,
that's why I had to point it out.
Here's what I would have to ask Rachel then. Why would you find it necessary to commit violence upon people merely because they don't hold the same viewpoint as you? What would make you so, I don't know, fucking crazy as to think that would be a solution to something? I don't know. Hit me back with that one. I'm just curious. How would that change? Would all of a sudden, because the person that said that a man dressed up as a woman is not a woman, that makes you angry, so you go over and punch them in the face? Is that now going to suddenly turn the man dressed up as a woman into a woman? No, it's not. It's not going to change anything. All it's going to do is get you probably locked up in jail for assault. Okay? So,
and you'll most likely get your ass kicked, going up to a real man acting like a woman who thinks she's a man as a man thinking he's a woman. I mean, come on, man. He will laugh at you and he will smack you down before you even get to him with that attitude.
Just think about what's in the mindset. Just
ripping your hair and all if it ain't just a wig. But let me get off the case.
Think about Rachel's what's calling in the mindset of it.
Now we're also closeted gays too.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's your erroneous subjective opinion, designed to elicit a response of some kind. I don't know. Keep going though. You're batting 1,000 so far.
Are you familiar with human embryonic cell?
But what would be the mindset? Think about this. I don't like what that guy said. It hurt my fifis. I'm going to commit violence on them.
Right.
How did those words? How did feelings are your choice? Those are your choice. That's a you
And
problem.
who's acting like a man in the chat right now? I'm gonna kick your ass. Come to me. Come to me. I'll kick your ass.
So
You
Rachel,
know, who's the woman in the chat? Rachel, it is not you.
Yeah, so Rachel, I think you see the link up there to join in on the discussion and explain your case and explain why we're gay and why we're wrong. It's available.
Hey, before we do that,
discussion. But go ahead.
go,
Yeah, go ahead.
go.
Ray.
Before we do that, listen. I put that video. Please play that, man. This will shut Rachel up, and everybody will have a good laugh.
I don't want to shut Rachel up.
Well, I'm saying we'll have a good laugh about
I want Rachel to have as much rope as he needs to hang himself. Oh, I showed that the other night, RG. I showed that very one the same night. It's on.
Oh, did you? The same?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny, man.
It's the same thing. It's
well, maybe Rachel needs to see it.
What's a gay sparkle boy? What is this trans word? I don't even know.
I think this is a perfect example. At the end of the day, the truth is the truth. If one of you would look at me or all the people on the panel and say, I'm Jesus Christ, I'm the president, we'd think you're fucking crazy. It's the same fucking thing with this bullshit. In biology, it's simple shit. Yes, male or female. They're not going to click on the link because they have no substance. They have nothing to bring to the conversation, because at the end of the day, if they did, they would be typing that instead of personal insults right off the bat. These are mad triggered people because their feelings are not being catered to. This is the mind of a child. Anything you say to me, I look at you like a 3-year-old learning how to talk, figuring out what words are, because you obviously don't know what the fuck you're in. If you're going to sit here and say this stuff, there's no substance. It's just nothing.
I've got the gay sparkle on my face.
It's beyond a substantive thing, y'all. This is beyond a substantive thing. You look into human embryonic cell lines. When you look into human embryonic cell lines, at birth, they're giving a male to a female and a female a male. HEC, human embryonic cell line. Soon as it comes out the birth canal, that they say that it's the leading cause of gender dysphoria to date. It's in the book.
I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I think it is the introduction of chemicals into our water and food supply.
That's it.
Both purposely and unwittingly as well. Okay. The glyphosates that are used are known in the chemistry world as a gender bender. Okay. We also leach synthetic hormones out of all of the plastic that our food seems to be contained in these days. Try to find a glass bottle of a beverage someplace. It's next to near impossible. Okay. When I was a kid, milk came in glass.
That's right.
Soda came in glass. There wasn't none of this plastic shit. Right. Yep. And you know what else we didn't have? We didn't have a bunch of people with rainbow hair and feathers sticking out of their ass running around in town. Okay. We didn't have that either. Geez, could there be a correlation? Possibly.
We had that in New York City.
I think it's
right. Exactly. So what we've actually got going on here is
heard about that one 2000.
Yeah, there's a lot of I'm going to call them testosterone challenged young men in this world that have really got a high degree of estrogen in their body. Their endocrine system has been fucked up throughout their childhood through their diet and other agents introduced as well. And they're nowhere near what they were 20 years ago or 40 years ago. Just do yourself a favor one time and Google pictures of the young men being given physicals in 1941 and 1942 before they went off to the war. People that age today do not look like that. They don't have the same physique at all. It's much smaller, much more feminized. And so this isn't nature. They want to tell us that this is a natural thing. It's not. It isn't. Now, it is interesting that they do push this agenda because there's been so many of these high-level leaders that are really into that shit, man, both in present day as in the past. Most people don't know that Sir Walter Raleigh was locked into the Tower of London for referring to King James. He called him Queen James because he liked to wear women's clothes and he had a proclivity for young boys. Okay. This seems to be a theme. You take a look at some of our first ladies, for instance. Ladies in quotes. I mean, for crying out loud, look at Barbara Bush. Looks like she stepped right off the Quaker oatmeal can.
Isn't lady just adding a Y to the word lad?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
That's
Just like Beyonce. Boy once. Boy once.
Holy
Did you
shit.
see where her baby bump folded on the Wendy Williams show when she went to sit down? She was supposedly pregnant, and her pregnant bump folded when she went to sit down. It's because Beyonce is a dude.
Oh shit.
And did you see a little bit after how Wendy mysteriously started developing dementia and all this other bullshit after exposing that? I'm telling you. Whoo!
Hey, let me tell you, when the girls would ask me, what makes you a man, what makes me a woman, and they want to challenge me, what makes you a man? I say, these fucking nuts.
The little duality I got going down there, or should we say Trinity?
And like I said,
Rachel,
Rachel,
you have a link down there. Go ahead, click on it.
And the thing is I don't have a hatred for these people. And your words, like you use, they're always taking something and putting phobe on the end of it to indicate that somebody has a fear of it. I'm not afraid of them. I find them humorous. And this is me, I find homosexuality fucking revolting. The thought of it turns my stomach. Okay? I can't help that. I don't like fucking Brussels sprouts either. They turn my fucking stomach as well. Right? Am I against people that eat Brussels sprouts? Not one fucking bit.
I love Brussels sprouts. You have a right. I can't mess with you on that. I love Brussels sprouts. I'm sorry.
Well, you have a right to say that, Sub. You have a right because what is another man gonna stick his tongue in another man's fucking asshole? What is up with that?
Let's not get that graphic here tonight.
Okay.
Let's try to keep it a little bit,
And you know what?
We don't have to get really gross about it. And see, that's me. I'm thinking that's
something.
Just fucking
Something has changed because there was a time where if you called a dude a certain thing, those were fighting words.
Right.
It is what it is. I grew up in that time. And if you called a person the G word, you were going to fight. That's just what it was. Nowadays, it's not. It's now, and so Rachel is saying, ask a gay person what they think of trans people. It's almost like werewolves versus vampires. That's what it's starting to sound like right now. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Like, I really don't know. I'm not trying to find out or nothing like that. I'm not.
Honestly, I know a lot of gay people, and those gay people I know because I've been living in Thailand, so obviously you can't not know gay people living there. They don't agree, in Thailand, they don't even agree with gay and trans being the same, and they don't all like each other. Many gay people, they think trans people are taking it too far, and they don't understand why they need to do that big change and can't just be fine with being gay or lesbian.
Look,
they don't even get it themselves, most gay people.
I said back when they added the fucking T, it used to be just LGB, right? That's all it was. Then they added the T, and I said it's not going to be long before the T's and the B's start fighting each other because diametrically opposed already. Think about it. They're diametrically opposed. So it won't be long before the B's and the T's start getting after one another. And lo and behold, here we are. I predicted this. So, I look at it like this. I'm like, look, yes. Have we always had homosexuals? Yes, we have.
Yeah.
And for the most part, a lot of people didn't really care. Just don't ask, don't tell type of a thing. It was speculated. Mr. Johnson, he's never been married. He seemed kind of effeminate, blah, blah, blah. But he never came out and said, yeah, dude, I rail other guys and shit like that, right? We just left
Check
alone.
Rachel's last comment.
So here we got what her last comment. Let me see. It had zero to do with sexual orientation. Okay. Right on.
Does thought have nothing to do with thinking?
With the same insanity that's involved. Okay.
Yeah, man. Like,
hey, Iron, you Gen X? Are you Gen X?
Yeah. I was born in 78.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. We're like all family here.
That's 1965 right here, bro.
Yeah. See.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's. It was different back then. Even in New York City, where you had a bigger, especially with AIDS and everything, it was of concern, right? Where if there were people, because there were a lot of people in New York that had AIDS, it was a crazy time in the 80s. For those folks that might be younger and may not know,
I remember that.
Yeah, so yeah, you remember, like if you sat, my parents didn't even want me sitting in a public toilet seat. They were like, do not.
Oh man, I know. I was like just coming up at about 18 years old when that shit started happening. I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I was ready for this. Now you telling me I gotta have plastic? Get the fuck out of here.
They were like all this, all that. And then they were also like, they called it the gay disease. Yeah. They called it that. Yeah. So it was a crazy time. All right, I see somebody in there saying AIDS is fake. Well, whether
do you think they were deliberately infected in some cases with the medicine?
I think I sincerely think they were.
I think it was actually, and it's what killed. I believe what killed Freddie Mercury. I'm not the only person that thinks this as well. Right. It was the AZT.
Him.
Okay. I believe you're right. Wasn't that? Yeah, it was Dr. Fauci.
Yes.
Come to think, yeah, it was.
I didn't learn about that until the pandemic. That's right. I didn't learn about that till the pandemic.
We better steer away from that. Yeah. We better steer away from that.
Is he really in the limelight right now, Sav?
He's coming back.
I don't know. It's all a big show. Are you shitting me?
What is the validity behind that? I've heard something about it. Haven't looked into it. I heard that something happened with a talk in Congress. This is all for like just entertainment purposes. But anyway, have you heard that report and seen because that's all sophistry.
Well, here's what it's all a big show.
Look at what Bane Bear said. I'm sorry. Click on what Bane Bear just said.
Where's Bane Bear? Gay and trans are both castrating future generations, but not just having a normal marriage with children. They're all reacting from trauma. Oh, yeah.
And a lot of them want to say that God and higher existence and everything is a joke because they don't even know who they are and what they are too, so they can't.
Well, that and it takes away having to be accountable.
I think that's something we're supposed to overcome.
Now, I'm going to just tell everybody
that way,
I'm going to just tell everybody this, okay? You don't have to believe in God. God still believes in you. Right. And for you to not think that you're going to be accountable for your actions in this life later on, that there's no God because you can't see God, is really the same as a little kid covering up their eyes and saying, you can't see me now.
Right.
Yes, we can. You just can't see us.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
So I just lay that right on out there. You can deny it all you want to. And it's, well, I've never found God. Really? Where was you looking?
Yeah.
You're not going to find it until you look in yourself. You have to look inward. You don't find God outward. You can find evidence of God outward, but you find God when you look inward.
That's right. That's right.
It's
the deepest recess of inward.
Yep. It's a tough reality. Like, I know I'm all jacked up. I got tattoos. And I know there are a bunch of places in the Bible that talk about my tattoos being a sin. I've got a whole bunch of ink. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to sit here and be like, well, I'm good, because I'm not good. I've already committed my fair share of sins, and I'm sure I continue to sin all the time. So, and I'm not trying to say that somebody else's sin is greater than mine. And so I think, but still at the same time, I'm accounting for my sin. I know I've screwed up. You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, the ink is there. I've ruined the vessel that God has given to me to take care of and do everything else. I did this to myself. I admit that.
Do you know
but
what the meaning to repent is actually? It's to be able to look back at your past behavior, recognize it for the abhorrent behavior that it was, and learn that you don't do that again.
Yep.
That's what repenting is. It's not going and groveling in front of a statue. That's not how that's done. You have to forgive yourself first and foremost and understand fully. You don't just forgive yourself. You understand the lesson from what you did. You have to look at it with honest inner retrospect. That's how you repent. Because like I look back at shit, I'm going, good God, I would have punched that fucking asshole in the eye. Talking about myself. Because I realized, wow, at that moment, I thought I was king of the fucking roost. Right? But now I look back at it and I was a fucking dick. And I don't ever want to repeat that kind of behavior again.
Yeah.
That's the way you repent on something right there.
Right.
Well, and that goes into the theory of like, because I'm more of a spiritual. I kind of sway spiritual. We're all energy. That's what I go towards. But in the theories of, God, heaven, hell, all that, I've heard one that's really compelling to me is that you make your own hell, a guilt loop, something that you can't let go that you've done in your past. You will keep reliving over and over and over again. And the only person that can get you out of it and the key out of your own hell is you.
Yep.
And that's always been a theory that I'm like, okay, when you're talking
that's also
about
what they call
sins and
insanity.
repenting. Yeah, exactly.
That would be spiritual insanity because you keep doing the same thing, looping yourself over and over. Yeah.
Rachel just said something rather interesting that I'm like wondering what rock she's been under. Honey, also the link is pinned. If you're having trouble getting in here, let me go ahead and I'll put that link down there in the chat again, and you can just take your little mouse there and click on that. If you're on your phone, you can just take your little finger and just click that link real careful like that and pop right up on here. And then you don't have to sit there and rave like a crazy maniac in the fucking chat. So the thing is, if this is what Rachel says is true, that this agenda is not promoted, can you explain why they have like drag queen story hour and they lock the parents out, and why they have kids in bars where there's this kind of entertainment going on, and even worse, giving kids and praising them for dressing up all fruity and dancing around in a provocative way, while adults put money in their pants and on the floor around their feet?
Yep.
Could you tell me that that's not, and nobody being able to do anything about it without being hit up by the authorities? Right?
And V Void just brought up a good point. I'm sorry, Sab, but you see
that's all right. That's promotion. I'm sorry, that's promotion.
Well, and then on top of it, if you want to get down to it, they have a whole month for it, Pride Month. They have festivals, parades, online social media groups, platforms, channels for it, everything. Tell me how there's no promotion. Tell me how. You're speaking out of your ass at that point.
But also Rachel says, I did not invent trans. I wish I was not trans, but this life is the life I was given. Then why are you supporting it so hard and fighting for it right now? And all that stuff, what's the deal? If you don't want to be trans, why are you not working your way towards not being it in some way? Studying, experimenting, hormones, all these things to go the other way. Why are you not trying to become a man then?
I'm finding that hard to believe that was the life you were given. Let me just start at the beginning. Mr. and Mrs. Rachel, whatever your mom and dad's name is, they get together and they have you, Rachel. They say, oh, look, we have a beautiful baby boy, right? Let's only fill its closets with girls' clothes and only fill the toy box with girls' toys, so they won't really have they won't have a choice but to be like that. Is that what happened? Or were you had a choice? You weren't just thrown into this life. Now, if there was something in your mind that said, I feel like I'm a woman, despite the fact that I'm a man, well, a lot of times, especially in the past, we would consider that like a mental disorder. Not saying that I'm not disparaging you. I'm just saying that right there is like, for instance, if I go around thinking that I'm actually a grasshopper, that's a mental disorder. Okay. Because I'm obviously not a grasshopper. I am a man. Okay. So there's where the problem lies at. It's not that you weren't given a choice. In fact, what choice is there? You're either one or you're the other. That's all there is to it. You're never going to be having any babies or anything. We are all the race of man. Okay. We denote the two sexes. We have men.
The man and the womb man.
The
man with the womb.
Man. That's right.
Yep.
That's right. We're all the race of man. Some of us have the capacity of a womb and other ones don't. Okay. This is how we differentiate the two sexes. And when they come together, they can procreate the ingredients for life, which God bestows at that point. Now, what we've run into, though, in modern times, and especially with this sexual revolution of the 60s and early 70s, is we've bred a culture of wanton sexual behavior. People just giving in to their lusts. They're just giving into it. There's nothing wrong with it. Sleep with as many people as you want to. Blah, blah, blah. Hey, and if you get pregnant, that's okay. Government says that it's legal and moral for you to murder your baby if that happens. So just keep going out there and being promiscuous. Spread them legs as far as you possibly can. Let as many men in there as you possibly can. Get a body count that's phenomenal. Then go on a talk show and tell about it and brag. This is where we've gone with this. We've lost a sense of family. We've lost a sense of morality. So what comes about from that? Woman gets together with so-and-so. They haven't even really dated. The first time they get together, they fuck, right? First time. Girl gets pregnant. Later decides, hey, this guy is really kind of a douchebag. I mean, he was nice looking and everything. And he had an adequate Johnson, but he's a real fucking douchebag. And they split up. They don't get together. This child grows up in a one-parent family, mostly being exposed to his mother. So he's going to adopt effeminate characteristics to his persona based on them.
Right. That's right.
Secondly, most often than not, that child is used as a weapon to punish the man who put you in this situation. And so you further limit the father by first breaking his bank account and second, limiting the amount of time he gets to spend with the child. What is this?
You have all the chemicals and additives and other things.
Right. So you add in all those other things, but I'm just talking about how the majority, how many people come from a broken home.
And not to mention all the men that the wife is now going to introduce to that child. That's not the father. All these different men, possibly. Lord knows what kind of information that they're plugging into this child's brain.
That's definitely right.
They got a Papa John, a Papa Michael, a Papa, so they got 3-4 Papas, man.
Used to be that you dated someone to test the water and see how compatible you are with that person. You'd go to a situation that would allow you to see if you enjoyed the same foods, to see if you had a lot in common conversationally. Whether or not you had a good time, and most important, whether or not you had that one special feeling that was the one person you could not be without, not merely because you had a boner. Okay. There's the key. And so what was the purpose of courting or dating? To find a potential mate. Once you find that potential mate, then you go about procreating and starting a family. a family. Because the family unit is very important. The child learns his values from the family unit. He learns his behaviors from the family unit. That's what I was saying. I was rewatching my own debate on PJ's channel, and I saw myself on the screen, and I was like, "Oh my God, my fucking dad's on TV," you know? And I'm like,
"Oh shit!"
Because I look and I talk just like I remember him at my age. See?
I see.
And this
Yeah,
is
I
where
think I might be the last generation that my mom and dad have been married for 40 something years now. So yeah, I think I might be the last generation to see that kind of love and toughing it out. They argued a lot so over money and stuff, but hey. But listen, I went away, guys, and I came back. I went away and watched a little 15-minute architecture like Iron was talking about with Jared Boosters and them. Would y'all like to see it? It's beautiful, man. Beautiful.
We're kind of off that now.
Oh, you want to talk? Okay, I got you.
We're kind of off that. But yeah, I want to do one night on this antique architecture and things like that, because I've often said, like, these cathedrals, I think it's really interesting that they were all built around the pipe organ. The body of the church built around the organs. Isn't that interesting symbolism right there? And then to me, I interpret the architecture as frozen music.
Oh,
that's a good way to see it. Like it's almost like a frequency that froze.
Yes,
and just into stone.
So then let me ask you that. Let me ask you this. What do you think of that window that's typically out in the front? That huge circular window.
Oh,
that stained glass window that's got all those patterns. Then
and they're different.
How do you?
Each one's different.
Right. So then, how is it?
It's a cavity magnetron, Vlad.
Well, what it does, it shoots it outward. It shoots the frequency out that window.
It'll come back inward too. It depends on where the sound source is coming from. There's not supposed to be glass in those.
Concentrates.
There's not supposed to be glass in those. Those are cavity resonator magnetrons.
That's it.
Yeah, haven't you seen how they put big clocks on a lot of buildings? They take a big clock into that hole on top of buildings these days. Also, old churches. They just fill that room out. That was a big, beautiful pattern of a vibration of frequency. Frequency pattern. They remove those windows and put in a clock.
Yeah.
Yeah. They took all the bells out too.
Like you mean in Big Ben?
Yeah. Well, no. There's there's one in Prague still that it moves around. It's like the moon map in a way. If you think about the moon map.
That big clock, the giant. I forgot the name of
the Antiquitech
moves around.
Yeah.
So our sun and moon only reaches so far out, and then over time it'll melt, moving in a circular pattern. So one side is constantly freezing, and as it moves, it's constantly melting. So it goes around gradually like that.
Showing the progression of a great year, which is a cycle through each one of the ages. And so once you've gone through the cycle of each zodiological house, then you've gone through a great year. I believe it's 72,000 years or something like that.
Something like that, but it's beautiful how it unfolds because it's always 1/4.
I need to ask Rachel Rachel, did you see the link that I put in the chat? Just I need to find out if Rachel's maybe having trouble being able to come up on panel or something, because they're typing like a madman. You guys are experts. Well, thank you. I wouldn't say that we're experts. I would say we're rather well informed. My definition of an expert is this: an X is a has-been, and a spurt is a drip under pressure. So don't fit that.
Don't leave, Rachel. Come be part of the transmission.
Oh.
That was pretty great.
I see what you did there. I see what you did there.
That's a good one.
That was quick.
I guess I did.
Well, see, we're real men. We're up here talking about real things that matter because we all know who we truly are. We're comfortable with it. We're all older. We've been around the block a couple of times, and we know what a real woman is.
Yeah, and look, and there again, the Marxists, okay, the Marxists, you have to understand the word that they like to throw around, this thing, this homophobe. Okay, let's break that down. I have a fear of things that are the same. What the fuck does that mean? Or I have a fear of self? And what makes you think there's fear? How did you translate disgust into fear? I don't understand that. Or revulsion, rather. I would have to say revulsion.
Translate.
So that's where I'm at with that. They've made up all these words.
Oh yeah, they make up all
that don't have any fucking meaning. Anti-Semite. What? I'm against people, descendants of Shem. What?
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
And what's wild about it is that you could say that's not me, but then they push it on you so hard, they shame you into just falling for the BS.
It's hard to shame.
They just shame you. Yeah, they just shame. Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm like, at this point, I'm like, whatever you say, you just throw the truth at them, and then they'll scramble. But I mean, that's how they get the normal person on the outside. That's not that well informed.
This is how much of a shit I could give about what other people think, right?
I agree with rethinking.
I can go into a big store. My wife hates going places with me. She does. I can go to a big store and she never knows what the fuck I'm going to do. She never knows. I might come flying past her on a hippity hop at Walmart that I found in the toy section. And I'm playing on it. Fuck y'all. I'm playing on the hippity hop. I'm going to bounce around the store for a little bit and try it out. All right. Or I'll just be standing there in line and I'll just start gyrating my hips. No expression on my face, nothing else moving, just gyrating my hips just to see what the fucking reaction from other people are. And those people, once they leave the store, they're never going to remember me specifically. They're just going to remember some dude did that. They're going to either laugh or think it was weird or whatever else. And my chances of running across those people in the future and them recognizing me are slim to none. And
you
even if they do, I'll just have a good laugh with them.
Your channel's growing. They're gonna be like, I became a flat earther. I remember you in Walmart that one time over there breakdancing for no damn reason. There was no beat. There was nothing going on. I remember you.
Yeah.
I didn't forget you. It's bound to happen.
And I do it just even when I'm by myself. I went down here to get cigarettes one day, and then I just broke into my version of Sweet Child of Mine, and everybody loved it. They were just stopped and listened to it. I was like, she's got thighs that appear to be the product of burgers and KFC, and every once in a while she eats up high five. Whoa, sweet cellulite.
Oh yeah.
And then just went back to what the fuck I was doing, like nothing ever happened. I walked up to a dude in the store one time, just a random dude. I walked up to him and I looked at him real serious and I said, I've been sent from the future with a message. There's going to be a revolution. You're going to lead it. And then I turned around and went back to doing what I was doing. And he said, wait, well, what did you just say? I said, what are you talking about? Who are you? Like I didn't even remember none of it and shit, and just went on about my thing. I'll see people going down the road and I'll wave at them like, hey, how you doing, as I'm going by. I don't know
You know what I'll do?
but I know that they're going to spend most of the rest of the day going, who in the fuck was it?
You know what I'll do sometimes? What I'll do sometimes is I'll break out into, like, if I'm in the store and people are looking at me funny in my wheelchair, I'll break out into the commercials that are like prescription drugs. You're like, oh, may cause diarrhea, upset stomach. Oh, could lead to being in a wheelchair.
These motherfuckers drinking the cooking oil are going to cause the next toilet paper shortage. Watch. I
went into Walmart.
Drinking up a glass of oil. Let me tell you something. He'll be able to shit through a screen window and never hit a wire. That's what is going to happen to that fellow.
Yeah. Everything's going to slide right out.
Oh.
Shit that he ate 5 years ago going to come out, man.
He's gonna be like, damn,
You can't eat for a
Cheerios.
week.
I haven't.
All
He's gonna see Cheerios, bingo chips, a pair of dice, all kinds of stuff coming out. He's like, I don't remember eating a pair of dice. Where'd that come from? Yeah.
Oh, man, he's gonna shit and he's gonna shit and roll a 6. You know.
Yeah.
If you're ever in a bathroom stall, a fun thing to do is this. If you want to elicit some laughter, is while you're in the stall, just go, "Oh my God, when the hell did I have corn?"
They're gonna be.
I didn't need any corn.
How did the corn on the cob get in there with the cup? Damn it!
Well, how the hell does it reassemble itself? That's always been a mystery to me. Oh, look, we got a couple of them. We got Lowry back here. I can see all backstage.
You guys talking about flat Earth again?
We're talking about all kinds of shit, man.
Yeah.
We're talking about everything.
I know. I love it.
We're talking about how the hell did they 3D laser print the architecture back then?
Well, now wait a second. Hold on. We're looking at that as a viable thing that was done. Right. Okay. And it's an interesting theory, but there again, that's all it is at this point in time until we can actually prove that that's what was going on.
How would we prove that though? How would we prove that?
Well, we have to find
maybe
something.
If we found I don't know, a 500-year-old 3D printer. I mean, we know that.
Because I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sal. Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm thinking, we know that they were using photo obscura to make paintings with in the 1600s and earlier than that. In fact, I think that Da Vinci, when he was doing, they can tell a Da Vinci painting, an actual Da Vinci, because nobody can figure out how he mixed his oil so thin. And I got to thinking to myself, what if he didn't really mix his oils that thin? He just only colorized a photograph that he made that he put on the canvas.
But this is architecture, though.
Wow.
This is architecture. I'm saying this is.
I know, you're saying right in the middle of what I'm talking about.
Okay,
Let
man.
me tie it together, man. God.
They made up a bunch of shit.
They made up a bunch of shit. We definitely know that there was certain types of technology that could have been being used. Now, do I know for a fact that Da Vinci was using some kind of photoreactive chemical on his canvas, using photo obscura and then touching it up with paint? No, I don't have any proof of that. But since no one has ever been able to duplicate his paint technique as far as texture is concerned, I think it's a step in the right direction.
Right now,
but we're not evidence, like
they're
you said, of architecture, like you said, of architecture and things like that, right? Could it have been?
They're trying to fool us.
Well,
they're trying to play us for dummies, like a horse and buggies.
You know how they do it? You know how they do it? They get you to make fucking ridiculous claims without proof. That's how they do it.
Oh man, come on now.
No, that is how they do it.
Come on.
Let me ask you something. When you tell a globetard that containment is necessary in order to have the atmosphere we breathe, what's the first thing they ask you? Oh, well, where is your container? What's it made out of? Right? That's the first thing. I don't fucking know. All I know is that it's necessary. Okay?
Well, we've had good descriptors of it. When they said God walked upon a sea of glass, it was the color you could see through it.
I do not use religious texts as proof.
But what do you use?
What do I use?
How do we prove to them? Yeah,
I don't know.
We've already proved it several times.
Well, if you let me explain it to you, I'll tell you how you find out.
Okay.
You physically go there and check it. That's how you find out.
Check it.
And it makes sense because what we know is that you need a physical container to have a bottle of soda.
Right.
You need a physical container to make balloons do what balloons do. Everything else demonstrates that you need, for that cup of coffee, you need a physical container. Everything else demonstrates you need these things to happen in order to have that final product. So then it pushes us in the direction to understand that where we live wouldn't be possible without there being something covering and protecting us.
I understand that, but we've got a whole decade. Hold on, we got a whole decade. Excuse me, sir. We got a whole decade of research proving these things.
We don't have anything proving shit.
Okay.
We
okay.
have theories.
Well, I'll be a Glober then.
I guess.
Yeah, I'll be a Glober. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying we have theories. I mean, look, it's not necessary for me to see if I have a T-bone steak sitting in front of me and I'm getting ready to eat that thing. I know 100% that is beef. Okay. And I know somebody's going to say something about fucking 3D printed meat or some dumb shit like that. I'm talking about regular steak that comes from a fucking cow, right? So I got this T-bone steak in front of me. I know that it's beef and I know that it came from a cow. It had to come from a cow because it's beef and it's a T-bone steak. Now, do I need to know the color of the cow, where it lived, or any other such nonsense about the cow to verify that this steak is made of cow? No, I don't. Not
Hold on, what are we talking about? What are we talking about here? What is going on? Like we're talking about Da Vinci paintings and beef and what's going on here?
He's giving an example.
I'm giving an example. Okay, so this is where you get of how so many people are unable to extrapolate information from another example. Okay, so the point of, see, that's what you do. I'm in a train of thought and you keep fucking interrupting me and taking me off of it. I'm 60 years old and I smoke fucking weed. Don't do that to me.
Yeah, let's talk. Let's get down to
Damn.
I got you, brother. Go ahead.
So,
y'all want to watch some beautiful architecture that's been 3D printed?
No, I don't want to watch any beautiful architecture. Thank you.
I'm fucking with you, buddy.
You know, trees grow in the forest.
Do they fall if you're not there? And do you hear it if it falls?
Okay. Well, if you're not there to witness it, there's no forest.
Right.
So,
That's it.
no,
Thank you.
it doesn't.
Nobody asked.
Only if something's there to witness it making a sound is there going to be a sound. Otherwise, hell, you're not there. You don't even know there's a forest there. The only way you know there's a forest there is when you observe it. And, well, if your observation is what manifests the reality, then that's the only time the forest actually exists. Once you stop viewing it, it's nothing more than like this internet stream being a bunch of ones and zeros.
Right.
It's just an information field at that point in time.
The trees trees don't have a YouTube channel.
Yeah, it's like if you don't see it, you're not even living it. You're just like, it's over there. It's like it's a mind thought. You know, you're like.
Well,
can I tell y'all one thing?
It takes my six senses to interpret the information field into a cohesive reality. And if I'm not looking at it, nobody's looking at it, nobody's there, then it's only an information field because it only exists as we see it because of our interpretation of the information field.
Hey, if I could show you the ether with your bare eyes, would y'all believe it?
No.
For real.
No.
Like a science experiment.
Yeah.
You could see
on
it.
a night where we're talking about ether. On a night where we talk about ether.
Okay.
Then we'll go with that. You keep wanting to share a bunch of stuff that's not really on what we're talking about.
Well, I'm trying to say I'll show you like a science thing, like proof.
Well, okay. On a night that we're discussing the ether or something like that, then we'll watch that.
No, not watch
Right?
it with our bare eyes. We could all do it right now.
I know. I'm fully
Okay, I
aware
got
of
you.
the capabilities of this computer and the StreamYard system and everything else about that. Okay. We're talking right now. We don't want to go and watch a video about architecture or some other shit while we're actually, or ether, when it's not even really part of what the topic of discussion actually is. You know, I mean, you want to watch some footage from the 1979 Indy 500 race?
No.
No,
I'm
of
talking
course
about
not.
our
Nobody, because we're
eyeballs.
not talking about that.
No. Our eyes, buddy. Our eyes right now.
Yeah.
We can all do it.
Yeah, we're
Seriously.
doing it. We're doing it right now. We're
Okay,
literally doing that right now because you're not really here. I'm not really
okay.
there.
Right.
Right. So through
I hear you.
a stream of ones and zeros going through the internet, passing through undersea cables and bouncing off of satellites, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's
I'm not
now
talking about that, though.
it goes
I'm talking about
into
our eyeballs.
I'm talking about fucking eyeballs too, in the relationship of how your mind and eyeballs work, just like this computer is working, bringing you a bunch of ones and zeros and interpreting it into a cohesive reality that you interact with on the screen.
No. I'm talking about light, that when you turn out the lights, you still see the light. I'm talking about like literally looking with our eyes now at a wall, a plain color wall or something,
Okay.
turn out all the lights, and you will still see the ether, is what I'm saying. We
Okay.
just have to focus on that.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
Right.
That's all I'm
Like
saying.
your dreams,
The actual
like your
topic
thoughts.
of discussion was actually our interpretation of an information field that we get through the six senses. Right?
Yep. Electrical signals. It's all light. Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yes,
I
sir.
try to not
There's
get
still light.
wandering off into the weeds and shit. Too often
No,
people want to take me off into the weeds.
I'm definitely not doing that, buddy. I'm trying to be very cohesive right now and just try to walk people
I
through it.
believe that you can probably see the ether or whatever the case may be. The fact of the matter is,
Electromagnetism.
wait a minute.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, all you're doing still is interpreting information field into your mind, into a little spot this big. That's basically what's going on. Whether you continue to see the light or don't continue to see the light, or it's whatever the case may be, that doesn't change the fact that your reality is a conjuring of the information field interpreted into your mind in a little spot about yay big. That's the point of the thing. Now, I think that's interesting, and I'd like to see that later about the ether and that kind of thing. But I am I wonder a whole lot, why was it removed from the periodic table?
Oh yeah,
that's another interesting thing.
So the question I got for that right there is, what was the symbol? What was the atomic symbol of ether, and when was it removed from the periodic table?
I don't remember. I remember seeing an old periodic table with it on it, but for the life of me, I don't recall what.
It's got to be zeros. It's got to be like it's got to be the first one on the plate. It's got to be the very first one.
It would have to be
before helium. Makes sense.
Even before helium, it would be zeros.
Or hydrogen. I mean,
hydrogen is the highest one for sure.
It's the first.
Yeah, so you could.
Yep.
I guess you could make a case for it's hydrogen, but you
can't contain hydrogen either. So you know, so if hydrogen is in here and we are part and everything, you know, we have to be enclosed, because hydrogen can't be in here, and you know, if it leaves like nothing else, like you know, what's the thing I'm saying? Hydrogen leaves, you can't contain it. So if we're living in a place that's not contained, there wouldn't be hydrogen.
Yeah. That's right. What was the thing that guy told me today? He says plutonium. You know, we have plutonium, and plutonium can only be formed in the heart of a star that goes supernova. And I says, how in the fuck do you know that?
He was
so
there.
Stupid. So stupid.
How do you know that? Somebody told you that shit. You thought them to be a smart individual, and so you just accepted it at face value.
Yep.
You didn't even think about how ridiculous that shit is. What they do? Cut it in half and count the rings? What the fuck? I mean, Wow.
Have you guys ever seen like shooting star, like you get real lightheaded and you'll see like little shimmery things going by?
In front of your
Like
eyes?
yeah. So
Yeah.
that's what I see when I turn on all the lights. It'll get like silvery and gold and red and blue looking, and yeah, it's just like that though. I don't know what it is, but there's something there that's not physical that we can touch, but it pervades. Like when you close your eyes as well, you see the same exact thing, and all the lights are off. You cover your eyes with a towel. And same thing, like you just cover them, uncover them, open your eyes, close them, and you'll see this just shimmery, beautiful stuff, man. I
You
don't know
know,
what it is. But
you know,
It's electric in nature. It's electric in nature.
That sounds like an aura from a migraine.
well, check this out.
Yeah.
So this is something that I spoke on my show about, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, something like that. And ever since I was a kid, if I kept one eye open and then I switched to the next eye, I could see more of a red tint in one eye. And then as soon as I open up the other eye, I could see more of a blue tint. And so what I started to recognize is that my eyes kind of function like, and this is in a very, from what I know, my eyes kind of function like a pair of 3D glasses. And so when I take a pair of 3D glasses and put them on my face, and then they give me a 3D movie that's out of sync, right? Or where the color's a little bit off kilter, and it gives that effect to where things look like they're like right in front of you, and it messes with your depth perception a little bit.
Do you remember the Viewmaster?
Yeah.
Remember those? Okay,
joint.
that's how those work. Now they had a thing that was like that back like in the 1800s, and it was called a stereoscope, and it was a little like two eyepieces that you look through, and they'd have a double picture that you put in a little clip and looked at it through this binocular, and it would give it three-dimensional depth.
Yes.
I remember that.
They had those for kids. You could put like a quarter and stuff. Yeah.
Oh my God!
My granddad had one in his house.
NASA jumped on it. That was one of the first Viewmaster slide kits that I had. Was from the Apollo mission. I was into that shit when I was a kid, man. I thought that was the coolest thing in the world, man. I had all the pictures of them on the moon and everything. And then I grew up and I had to give that up, and the Easter Bunny and Santa Claus and all this other shit too. You know?
Well, can I tell you guys something about science that I went through as a kid? I shot a nail through my eye at 17 years old, my right eye, and everything completely lost color. Everything drained out of my eye, which is liquid crystal, by the way, like our technology of, and it all drained out, right? I had split my cornea. I detached my retina. I had to have a man-made lens put on my eye. So on the way to the hospital, I opened my eye, right? And all I seen was black and white, and everything was inverted and upside down.
Oh, wow.
And it took 8 months for the cells and the liquid and the color to come back in my eye. I've got a picture on my X. I'll show y'all one day.
The chromatics are gone now. That's interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Here's Dave Sims has joined us. Hello, Dave.
Sims, what's going on?
Hey, what up, guys? How's it going?
Oh, fantastic, brother. Fantastic.
Yeah. Hey, just wanted to say great job with that debate you had today with the Facebook debate. Yeah, dude, I thought you knocked it out of the park.
Thank you.
So who was that guy?
Okay, so he's a guy that I ran across in a Facebook group, Flat Earth page on Facebook, which most of you know are run by globetards. Okay, the Flat Earth groups on Facebook are run by globetards. This is another tactic being used in their desperate final push, their final offensive, to keep trying to convince everybody that it's a globe. Despite their best efforts, it's not working, especially when I go into the group, because I think they've all got a memo to not respond to me, because very few of them do. And when they do, it's always the same bullshit, you know. Anyway, I ran across this guy. He asked insightful questions. He was respectful, and we were having a discourse on there. And I thought, this guy might be up for coming on. So I asked him, and he was agreeable to it. The only thing we had was this, and he was actually kind of anxious for it, which kind of put me at, I was a little bit wary once he seemed so anxious about it. I was like, man, hold your horses. I haven't even set up the stream yet. I'll get it. But now I understand it's because he misunderstood the time differences and thought I was going to go on at the normal time that I do tonight. He thought it was going to be like 6 o'clock his time, which no. I was like, no, I think you got time zones screwed up, but I can go ahead and have it set up for just a few minutes from now or whatever, and we can start. So he was agreeable, and it was a great conversation.
I watched the whole thing. I thought he was like really reasonable, like the best global reasonable person I've ever seen. Anybody
he actually seemed to consider the information. Most of these guys are busy trying to think of what they're going to say to counter what you're saying. They're not really listening to the information. They're just in a hurry to blow their globe-tard bullshit at you.
Yeah. And in a perfect world, the way the discourse seemed to have gone is how we would expect it to go, especially if the other person, if they're looking for information, if they're truly looking for information, instead of asking the same stuff that they already know they're going to get the same answers to. I came in towards the end of it, and from all I kept hearing was that was a good discussion. Like somebody learned something. And I was like,
well, he wasn't a flat Earth hater. Right. Tune and FTFE and the rest of those clowns, which I won't even give them a platform anymore. I've debated you. You fucking lost. You don't have anything new. Everybody you ever debate, you bring the same shit, get told the same shit. Enough of you. You're just using us for a cash cow. Go suck one. Okay.
Yeah, and hey, I really liked how he wasn't a know-it-all when we were asking questions afterwards. And I asked him about the tides, and he said he didn't really know. And that's honest, man. I like that.
What the difference between him and the aforementioned cast of usual suspects is the fact that this is just legitimately someone that believes the things that he's been taught and has been told that FE is just ridiculous and silly. But you could tell if you watched his body language and mine as well, because when I was letting him talk and, you could see when he would start bring up Narnia shit, I would just kind of like roll my eyes, and like, oh, okay, yeah, gravity and space, right? Okay. But you could actually tell by his body language that he was actually considering the information.
Well, you know
what happened? He was thinking about what was being said. And after it, he said, I said, that was a great show. I said, you've by far been the best Globe guest that I've ever had on my show. I think we broke the internet and made a record today by that discourse happening the way that it did. And I really enjoyed having you. I told him, I says, come back anytime. I usually have open panel link. Join the thing. Flat Earth isn't the only thing we talk about here. And he was like, oh, great. He says, I'll try to do that. He says, you really brought up some very intelligent points that I hadn't considered before.
Yeah.
Wow. You never hear that out of them.
Never. And I was thinking about it too. I was like, because that's really what I wanted to see at the very beginning of that debate. I was like, what's going to happen here? And you actually sat back and let him line up all 10 of his points or however many there were, and let him line it out. And then there was actual real discourse. I've not seen that in like for a long time. It's like, okay, this is really productive stuff, guys.
Yeah.
You do your thing, line up your points. I saw that you were writing down what he was saying, and you let him line them all out. And then guess what? You came back and you said your response to those points. Whereas with these clowns that just they don't want to hear the whole discussion.
Right.
They don't want to hear any of that. They only want to respond in reaction.
They respond and react to minutia that you incorporate into your explanation of something that is designed. They do that on purpose to throw you off track.
Yeah, it's a manipulation tactic. Point. Yeah.
Okay. And that shows me that you, for some reason, do not want to hear the information, but most importantly, you don't want others to hear the information.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a swerve there, right? It's like that's
point.
part of the battle of like online things where you're playing a chess game that you're ultimately going to lose. You're ultimately going to lose because the truth's still out. It's still out.
I love it. You mean I'll make it quick. So I was on X the other day. We were speaking to a few Globers. You know, that was a room about this size, and there was one guy. He was pretty smart. You know, you could tell that. You know, but when I got to asking him about at what point going south on a highway does your hood of your car point downward and not just talking about gravity and all that, but you know, he would always be like, right after I got done talking, he would say, so what you're saying is, and he would put words in my mouth and try to twist it, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I finally got him to concede, right, that yeah, you know, we were eliminating these factors that he would say, and you know, I'd play his little game for a minute, and finally he was like, yeah, dude, right past the horizon, or the equator, you would be pointing downward. Not, he wouldn't say south anymore. It was downward. Yeah, downward towards south, right? And so yeah, so I had him concede to that point, which was good. That was moving the goalposts a little bit, you know.
It's almost like a psychological like discussion that you have with people. Really, it's like it's working them away from their ball, the ball that they're holding on to, and you're really just like, it's not trying to convince them of like anything other than like, here, this is how common sense works. This is how we do it.
It's I was going to say it's almost like dealing with like a narcissist. Like you need to know their manipulation tactics and how to handle all the deflections sort of techniques that they use as a way of it. Like you said, it is like this psychological game that you're playing. So in order for them to even take in the information at all, you need to be able to reel them in. And I think, yeah, Dave, I thought you did a great job with that today, you know?
Yeah, man.
Well, one of the important things, and so many of us fall into the trap, and they try to lure you into this bullshit in every discussion. Now, I'm talking about these trolls, these FE haters, okay? What they do is they reverse the burden of proof to you.
Yep.
Okay? Well, prove that the earth is flat. Hold the fucking phone there, buddy. I observe a level topographical plane. I don't observe a spherical convex earth. None of my experiences indicate to me that I am moving at all. Unless there's an earthquake, I feel no movement whatsoever. Okay? So this means that your claim of a rotating globular earth goes against my observational reality and therefore carries the burden of proof.
Yep.
Okay. So it's like if I claim that I can, and I've used this before, if I claim that I can turn into a chicken, you don't have to prove that I can't. I have to prove that I can because I have the positive claim.
Yep.
Okay.
It'd be like proving that invisible magic fairies living in your garage don't rule the world, you know, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like you would have to prove that you can't prove the negative, you know?
Right. Yeah. Right.
Oh my gosh.
And then the crazy thing is they'll mix truths, like obvious truths. Well, there is a garage, right? The garage does have a green door, right? The green door does have windows in it, right? Then then the final at the end of it, you've got fairies in there, and then some people would be like,
"Can you prove that there are not fairies?"
Yeah, exactly. So some people would be like, "Well, you know, he does have a green garage with windows in it, and it is a garage. So then there must be fairies in there. Why would he mention the garage? Why would he mention these other?"
Doesn't it come down to Sav?
I mean, the garage could be a metaphor for something like a magical fairy forest, but
I mean, whatever. But
for sake of the example, that's perfect. Exactly. And they'll focus on the minutia that doesn't actually have anything to do with the crux of the point that they're trying to make or that you're trying to make.
Well, it reminds
Oh,
me of like
would
when
you-
some. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. It was it's like reminded me of like when you get in like an internet battle with like in the comment section, and then somebody focuses on the you know you use the comma in the wrong space instead of like the essence of what's being said. You know,
You said you
Yes,
used the
and
wrong
also
your.
spelling. They
Yeah,
also
yeah.
say
The
you're
what
spelling
I-
wrong. You're spelling wrong.
the grammar Nazi tactic. That's what I call it.
Right,
Yeah, grammar, man. That's so ridiculous.
There,
you know what I like
I
to
there.
Doesn't it boil down to like we've talked about this before? Is like
shit,
really
this is
like the presumed notion of the model. It's presumed. It's just it's something that they just accept.
Pre-assumed.
Yeah,
You may tell one of my favorite arguments.
You already made a mistake of something that's not proven, that is a sphere, and then we have to fight back against that presumption. And that presumption goes all the way back to like 100 years, whatever we're talking about. And it's like a lot of these anti-flat earthers cannot get past the preconception that there was a sphere to begin with, and that's how they built their thing, right? And that's what we're looking at.
You mean to tell you one of the favorite arguments to hone in on that's constant, that is a constant in their model, is the speeds, right? So you could even go extreme, like, okay, you're going south on a highway, say going downward toward the equator. You're doing 800 miles an hour on a highway, but still you're going southwest at 1,000 miles an hour. How the hell are you ever going to make it anywhere? Like, to your destination, even on a highway doing those kind of crazy speeds, their model still is constant,
Well, it's kind of like this. Think about this. Have you ever been to an airport or someplace at the airport, they call it a jetway, and it's a conveyor belt you can stand on instead of having to walk.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Go walk in the direction of the fucking thing
You stay in the same
when
place.
it's going, and look how fast you go in relation to the things you're passing, and then turn around and walk back against it and see what happens.
Yeah, and what you find out is it's all inversion. It's just inversion. It's just how do you invert someone's reality? You call it the father of lies in a biblical standpoint. You turn something that is obvious and you invert it, and that's what they did. They took every single thing that you've ever seen and turned it upside down. It's really that simple. And I know it's not that simple. It's kind of hard to get your arms around. Right. But like once you actually understand it, they just inverted everything.
Yeah,
and that is
it's not just inversion for the sake of inversion, but it's also inversion because it pulls you into total. It's not like you're close. That's what it is. It pulls you in the complete opposite direction.
Spins your mind way up, and you can't even understand what the hell
you couldn't. And the thing is it's so, what the truth is so strange that you can't fathom it. Because it's the bullshit that you were taught that you're like, this is reality. It's this whole ball thing, the gravity thing, the thing that I can't prove. Exactly. So then you're like, oh, what you're calling the truth. So you presenting to me this flat earth, which we know is the truth and everything else, what you're calling the truth, it doesn't make sense. Yeah. And when you hear somebody that's been fed lies the whole time, like we were, say that the truth doesn't make sense, that's how you know that like they're like it's hard for them to come out of that. It's one of those things where it's like, you know what, I really can't, like I've demonstrated to you everything I could. It's up to you to get yourself out of this. Like I can't do any more. I gave you the information. If that doesn't make sense to you, that's something you need to work out.
Onward. What do you say if they can't concede that there's even a kinematic and dynamic equivalent, that the conversation doesn't even need to go any further?
Yes.
No, it doesn't. And
and you had to go to college for a specialty in astrotheology or whatever, right? So everything we were taught, we didn't even think of. We just went to work and got home. We had kids, and we weren't looking at stars to a telescope, right? So, we had to come out of it in our own time, right? And it's all bullshit now. We know it. It's all bullshit.
It is.
When it comes down to this, and this is 90% of their arguments, Okay. Besides making a long distance observation and then proceeding to tell you that they do not understand how perspective and human eyesight works. The other one that they are always constantly blowing out at you is that they're like you're saying that don't forget you're on a globe. Don't forget you're on a globe. This reification of space and this vacuum and this void and all this other nonsense that comes about it. And like you were saying, you're too busy with your life to have actually taken a lot of concern with it. Fuck all that. I spent 12 years in that prison called school already. I've got enough. I don't need to know anymore. They told me what I need to know, and that's all I need to know. And that's where most people are at with it. But then when you start getting them to understand the importance of their entire belief of their existence being nothing more than a series of lies and as Vlad put, inversions, which is what basically is done with Luciferianism, the inversion of things. It's exactly the opposite. We see it on all facets of our society. We have a healthcare system that destroys health. We have an education system that destroys knowledge. We have police systems that are criminal. The justice system that has absolutely no justice within it.
Drugs, pushing drugs.
Yeah, everything is the fucking opposite of what it is, but people still go by it based on the programming that's given to them, and yes, through the television. The three most important aspects, the most important aspects of this little societal facet that they want to push are police, right? What's a lot of your television shows or what? CSI. You got the NYPD Blues, criminal, everything, all these cops.
I just had a Law and Order experience like an hour ago.
What's the message? What's the message?
I shit you not.
What's the message? The message is being given is what? The cops always get their guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Dude, what's the other two types of? Hold on a second, Nicole. I'm almost fucking done.
That's right, though.
So you got two other types of prevalent television shows, and they usually pushed them during the day with these professions through their daytime soap opera programs. But those are doctor shows and lawyer shows. What are we pushing there?
Yeah.
Doctors can cure anything. Modern medicine can cure any goddamn thing even if they're whacked out on Vicodin, right? And the other one is that justice is always served. Our court system and justice system works. If anybody that's ever been through it knows full well that it just fucking doesn't.
Yep, I just got out of it for the last 2.5 years dealing with even it wasn't the criminal court or anything, but 2.5 years of bullshit. And it's like these people are all out to just make their money, and they'll just keep extending things and doing all this shit because they know they got you once you're in there, But speaking of the criminals, I just got a $166 ticket for being on my phone an hour ago. Like, you got to fucking be kidding me, dude.
GT 1982 Mustang put up a good point right there. They pushed cowboy and space shows in the 60s.
Yes,
man,
absolutely.
What a crazy time.
I just watched Cowboys versus Aliens again.
With Harrison Ford in them, huh?
Yeah. That's a crazy ass movie. I believe Nicole she was wanting to pop in here with. What did you have?
Go ahead, Nick.
What?
That's you. Nicole. You had something you wanted to say that you really bad.
Yeah.
Always has lots of stuff to say.
No, I actually have a lot of stuff to say about, how our eyes see, and they just usurped our chakras, and they just turned everything, but that's beside the point because that was before.
Well, they hijacked the properties of human eyesight. They hijacked the properties of human eyesight and called it Earth curve. That's what they did.
Hey, you know who brought that up to the flat Earth community? Do y'all know who started that?
No. Who was it?
That was me. About my eye.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just wanted to let y'all know that it's a picture on X where I took a picture of my eyeball. Man, it's beautiful.
When flat Earth becomes the majorly held contention of our cosmology, we are going to put big fucking eyeball monument up in your honor.
There you go. Yeah, baby. Yeah.
You want to know with all this stuff that the president is talking about, letting us know and everything else, not one time has he said anything about the true Earth.
No.
About because they're talking about getting, and this is how I know it's bullshit, smoky mirrors and everything. Because here's Elon Musk. What's his whole mission in life? To try to get
the rocket program.
Exactly. Try to get this nonsense to Mars. Try to get this one a car, a Chevrolet or some nonsense in space. And then I'm like, okay, so you mean to tell me you're gonna have the guy that's pushing the fill in line his pockets with Ain't Rael and the Synagogue of Satan, right? You're gonna have this dude run the Department of Government and Efficiency.
Yeah, Doge.
Really?
Doge.
And you expect him,
Why
and you
is Kid
expect him
Rock there?
to find crooked money? No, he's going to keep pushing bullshit. Just his own way.
Well, I think it's all to bring in a new surveillance state, and they're going to use Starlink and all that stuff. I even think that the whole thing with the Tyson fight that was just on Netflix, okay, because the big takeaway from that fight, aside from the fight, was that everybody was having buffering issues watching it on Netflix, right?
Yep, I was. Yep.
And so my whole thing was, I'm like, because I never understood. I'm thinking, why are they? This is like the biggest fight in 25 years that anybody would pay any amount of money for, and Netflix never charged a dime for it. And I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. So I'm like, there's got to be another agenda behind it. So what I was thinking, like, once the buffering started happening, I started getting calls from everyone. Oh, is it buffering by you too? Buffering by you? I'm like, here's the agenda. This is classic problem, reaction, solution. Everybody's like, what are we going to do about this buffering, this buffering, this buffering? I think it's to bring in this whole Starlink system as another surveillance state. And for Elon, what do you know? Now he's in a position of power, even more so than he always has been. And you know, and here it is. I view it like, and what more than Netflix being the biggest, streaming service to bring that in?
Beta test.
Hey, guys,
doing it.
They're already they're
Good
look, they're co-opting one second. They're co-opting the movement already. Flat Earth, truth seeking, this and that. If y'all don't notice, there's already commercials coming out of the Wicked movie. You know, the Wicked for kids.
Don't even get me started on
with the witches. Well, listen.
The green
One quick.
witch.
Yes. Okay, so they've got a commercial out now talking about gravity, and they're on their brooms, and they can't take our gravity. This is gravity. And they float on their broom, and they're mocking us, right? And there is Matt Gaetz and RFK. It's all about healthy eating now and truth, and yes, in flat Earth, they did in Congress when they were talking about the USOs, the underwater UFOs.
Yeah.
They were talking about flat Earth in that meeting. So they're gradually pushing this. And guess what? The science is doing now. They're moving toward electric gravity.
I saw that today.
They're gradually pushing. These people know what's up there, y'all, right?
And they literally said and used flat Earth, and they said they were trying to politicize it. And I was like,
and a year ago, I predicted this. Me and Whitsitt predicted this, that they were going to either co-opt the movement or fuck us all up, or something.
Yeah, and call us terrorists, be like, oh, they're Zionists. And so this is the thing, is when they push that agenda, when they're like, oh, Trump is like, oh, if you talk bad about the Synagogue of Satan, then I'm going to call you Zionist or Zionist hater or whatever there is. Pass laws, because now they've got that Elise, what's her name? The one that looks like Miss Piggy. That's out there, that she's the one that's going to be in charge of she's like the embassy to the U.S., the U.S. ambassador, right? And so they have her in charge. She's such a firebrand for the Ain't Rael country that she's going to be helping put out legislation somehow. I don't know, somehow put out legislation. If you start talking bad about them, then all these
Elon Musk
penalties.
We need to keep our eyes open for the
RG. Listen, I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you again, man. You gotta stop jumping in on people talking, man.
I'm trying to help. That's all.
I know you're trying to help, but you're not helping when you interrupt people.
Okay.
I don't know how many times we got to have this fucking discussion, man.
Dude, I'm not. It's not a discussion. I'm sorry. Whatever.
Mark,
All
are
right,
you familiar with the exit entry visa tracking system, the biometric tracking system? Are you familiar with that?
I've heard of that. I'm not.
I know,
too
Sav, you're
with
familiar with it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, y'all want to touch base on that a little bit, and who was talking about that? Y'all know?
I'm gonna let you guys rock.
It comes down to this new civil coalition. It comes right down to this.
What's up?
It's everything they're doing is designed for full spectrum dominance of you.
Yeah.
That's right.
We are
financially, socially, everything. They want to control every aspect of your life.
We are the mark.
And if you allow them, they will
Trump
control
doing.
your brain.
Trump wanted to come in. Trump wanted to come in, which he's doing, and head us down the Zionist road to a Zionist one world government. Harris wanted to bring us in to a Marxist system to lead to a Marxist one world government. Guess what? Both ideologies are run by the same fucking people, and they both lead to the same place.
You damn right.
Would you say the United Nations is when in the 40s is whenever they actually put the one world government together?
I think that the one world government was actually put together before the UN, because the UN came after World War II. They tried it the first time after World War I, and they wanted to put the League of Nations, they called it. They wanted to put that over in, I want to say Brussels or someplace like that.
Kind of like a pilot.
And the U.S. didn't join.
I got it.
And so consequently, when World War II came about, the biggest sentiment of people, despite the pleas of those in Europe, primarily Britain, was, hey, enough. Once in this century is enough. Okay. We're not doing that bullshit again. And so what it took was a problem reaction situation like Pearl Harbor to get the American people fired up enough to go ahead and go with it. Just like how they got us fired up on 9/11 over that. Okay.
Yeah.
Just like 9/11,
Patriot
Pearl
Act.
Harbor was an inside job. Now, for the first time during that conflict in history, we had the general of one nation's army was given command of several nations, several sovereign nations' armies. They created a new rank for this called the 5-star general. This is the first time ever that this had ever occurred. And from this, we ended up with this alliance that was basically a test run for one world military force. Shortly thereafter, they went ahead and they started up with the UN, but this time, due to land graciously donated by the Rockefeller family, they were able to build it where they have it now. And how can you not join something like that? It's right in your backyard, for crying out loud, right?
Wow. Yeah.
So that was
did
to
you,
get us into it. But the idea of international sovereignty, we're told the UN doesn't really have any power. And as an organization itself, it may not really. I think the power structure comes from above that, really.
But there's nobody to blame with the UN. That's the thing. There's nobody to really
There's
put
no
your finger on. Yeah, none. So
and east was west and west was east.
Yeah, I mean, if the U.S. wasn't in the UN, there wouldn't be a UN.
Hey, has anybody heard that the theory that, well, not a theory, I'll show paperwork if y'all want, but there was a guy that they had DEWs over the 9/11 that day, just high altitude.
Yeah.
But there was this one guy, one second, I'm gonna land the plane. So this one guy could use old radio, like military radios from the Vietnam War or whatever, World War II. There was some kind of thing where he could float like bowling balls and melt them in midair.
John
Hutchinson. He could take wood and he could melt metal bars around, like rebar around it, just melt it completely without burning the wood.
Well,
like
he actually
frequently.
melted a spoon into a piece of wood and did not harm the wood. and the guy's name was John Hutchinson. Okay, his name was John Hutchinson. He was Canadian, and the government came in and confiscated a bunch of his fucking equipment and shit. He had some really interesting experiments. I looked into him really deep a few years ago when you still could. However, the directed energy weapons being used on 9/11 is another false rabbit hole to go chasing down, provided by Zionist scientist Judy Wood.
Okay. I'm gonna finish. Can I land the plane real quick? Real quick. I'm gonna land the plane.
I thought you already landed it, but yeah, go ahead. This is a
Well,
bumpy fucking flight.
think about Hawaii, the fires in Canada, Chile.
Yeah.
There were cars
I'm not
melted.
talking about those.
I'm just saying, right next to the grass, they wasn't burnt.
Yeah.
Like they were using DEWs for sure.
Right. I believe that there were some sort of directed energy weapons used in those fires. 100%. I do not believe there were directed energy weapons used on 9/11 to disintegrate rubble. The reason that the rubble pile was so small was because those buildings were hollow inside.
Yes.
There was nothing between the lobby and what was it, the 93rd floor or some shit like that.
Something they emptied. It took them months to freaking go in there. They sent crews in there to basically hollow the Joker out, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it was, and what you saw on TV is not what was seen by people that were there. Okay, the idea of this Alka-Seltzer fountain of dust floating up, flying up into the air, that's ridiculous as all shit. Okay, that was a production that you were given at home.
But is it? Did you see the thermite? You know, thermite was used to cut them beams in 45-degree angles. One last thing.
It's a common material used in controlled demolitions of construction.
Yes.
That's right.
And you know, there were puddles of thermite, liquid metal, for months down in there in the bottom.
Well, that's what we're told.
Yeah, that's what we're
told.
But we're told a whole bunch of shit.
A whole bunch. You know, like you gotta understand, like people at first didn't understand that during that time, after it turned out that there was a possibility that they used controlled demolitions to bring it down. The first thing I thought was, do you know how long it takes to organize people to organize a demolition, a controlled demolition of a building, any building? Yeah, it takes a while. It's an organized.
And you know, they had demolition companies coming in there. You know, for 3 weeks.
Yeah. Right,
I'm pretty sure we was going to get to that about that too, RG. I really was. I really wish we could have heard the rest of what Ironworks was trying to say at that particular time. But yeah, and here's another thing. Who was the head of the security company that was in charge of the Twin Towers?
George Bush's cousin.
Jeb Bush, his brother.
His brother. Oh, yeah.
Go figure.
Yep.
And then, of course, ground zero is Metatron's cube.
What?
Yes, it's a square cube, a black cube.
What?
Wasn't there a thing
Metatron's
about...
cube is not really that. Metatron's cube
it's a Zionist
is an
kind of like
incorporation of the platonic solids into one object.
According to Zionism, wouldn't you say though, Sav, that they use it for like they got the Jewish
some kind of cubism, the black cube. That's the black cube.
That's totally connected to
the Muslims are walking around that thing.
Saturn worship.
Oh man, y'all said I was talking bullshit. Come on, man. Metatron's cube. That's what? Come on.
Yeah, that's
Metatron's cube is an actual geometric. It's an actual geometric shape. Would you like to see it?
No, I got you. I know what it is.
I have one.
Can I ask a quick question? Is it supposed to be like a? Yeah, let's see it because I don't want to sound.
I'll be right
stupid.
back. I'll be right back.
Okay, so Iron.
So tell me what it's
about. The way I came up with
this
and to bring this up, just because it's just kind of weird. If you go see the memorial, it's a black cube. Okay, what else in the elites? Yes, so it's a hole in the ground that's forever pouring a fluid down in it, a fluid medium, and it looks like a black cube. The way it's shaped and the way the water flows down in it, it looks like it's cubical. That same exact cube, an Orthodox Jew wears on the top of his head with this prayer in it. It's called Metatron's cube.
Saturn,
it's the top of
right?
Saturn. It's connected
Yes.
to Apollo. It's connected to the Tower of Babel. That was a ritual, dude. It was a ritual.
But that's a six-sided, and that's what I was going to ask. If it looks like a cube within a cube, to give it the view where it looks like
it's a pentagram actually on its side. Yes, it's a one-dimension pentagram, but in the pentagram you get the other measurements.
Right.
It's one of the plutonics. It is. He was correct, but in this customary traditional thing that they're using it for in their symbology, it's a direct correlation to that sanctuary of people that died. And it's actually something that is undeniable in the Middle East. They're going around them. It's awesome. It's like hundreds.
That's what I thought it was.
Yep.
That's what I thought it was.
That's cool.
So that's
can you move it? Can you move it around?
Look at that, dude, it moves.
Yeah, that's what's at the top of Saturn.
Yeah.
Tell me what that's doing, Sav. Tell me what that's doing there.
These are the combined
plutonic
solids into one object.
There you go.
You can look them. You can look it up on the internet. It's commonly found.
Yeah, that's cool.
Dude, that's
I
cool.
like that.
That is really cool. That's good stuff.
Oh yeah, and by the way,
everybody, y'all.
That black cube that they got on their forehead, you know, that's to me also symbolizes what Elon is putting in people's heads right now.
It's Kabbalah.
Yeah. Same little dot on top of your head.
So
You've got the same black cube that the Muslims do a pilgrimage.
The Kaaba. Yes.
Yeah.
They are worshiping the brain chip right now, and they don't know.
At the UN building right now is a meditation room with a black cube that is actually anchored into the earth itself.
Oh.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
You don't say.
Yeah. So there's something to that. There's definitely something to that. These people are in the know about some shit that most of us are completely ignorant of. And of course, the reason being is because, and I use the word ignorant, not stupid. Ignorant means that we don't have the access to the information, and what information we do have is limited. We have to learn these things. And that's how you become not ignorant anymore. It's another thing to be willingly ignorant. Like when I hear somebody ask me, what does that word mean? When they're on a device, they're asking me using a device that they can find the answer to it with the touch of a button. But they want to ask me what the definition of a word that they don't understand is, when they could just as easily have looked for themselves what it was.
That's correct.
Now,
hey, Sal, I'm going to get off the stream, man. Hey, thanks for having me. All right, dude?
Right. I'm getting ready to shut it down.
Thanks for your insight.
Good.
You got some good views.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, my first time on. So, yeah, thank you, guys. It was fun talking to you.
Come on back anytime, Dave. It's good to have you on here.
And Sav, I was going to say, if you ever want to get a jam, dude, we could play some guitar together or whatever. You know?
I'm gonna close out the show with a song before I get out of here.
Sweet.
Yo, you know what I find crazy, man, is how we're talking about the Synagogue of Satan, and they're the ones that are running the education.
All of it, yeah.
Well, they're running the banks. They run the entertainment industry. They run everything. They run our Congress. They run our presidents. They run our presidents. Where do you think the AIPAC money? Did you ever see the amount of ungodly money that they receive from AIPAC? Oh my God. And they put their money on both horses, because either way, whoever gets in is beholden to them.
Whether it falls or rises, they win.
Exactly.
No matter what.
And oh wow.
They can adjust to
Could I tell you something? Can I ask you something, buddy? I gotta go, but do you think I could get a wrench, bro? I was just gonna talk to the chat for a minute. And
go ahead and just put something in the chat, and I'll go ahead and do that real quick. I'm very wary, though. I'm very wary.
No, I got you. I checked to make sure there's no.
Only reason is because my philosophy is that anyone that seeks power should be barred from having it. But
okay, I got you.
That's
okay,
my thing. Did you get a thing?
That's
in there?
fair. That's fair.
Did you put something in the chat?
Yeah, it was from earlier. Just
well, go ahead and do it
you know,
again, so I don't have to go looking for it. Just put
Oh,
hi.
I got you. Okay. I got you, buddy. Thank you.
Wrench of
I
banishment.
appreciate you, brother. I do appreciate you.
Right
When
on.
you
Go ahead
become
and
a
do it so
truther,
I can
you
get on with
find
the rest
out
of
the
the
cheer's
show.
attention.
Oh yeah. Okay, let me.
Go ahead, do it
let me
now.
get-
Do it now. Do
Well,
it
I
right
gotta.
the fuck now.
Well,
I want to go on with the rest of the show.
well, hold on. I didn't copy it. I've already copied another link, but let me go get it. I appreciate it. I'll be back. Thank you.
Thanks for the warning. I'm joking. I'm joking.
All right.
Yeah, man.
Anyway,
like seeing
Sovereign.
how they
no, go on.
how they took over, seeing how they took over this thing that happened after October 7th, and then you had all those the major the Ivy League institutions to where and when I looked at that, I sat there and I was like, holy shit, man. You've got these are like the big major institutions, all of them, all of those big major ones, the Harvards, this one, that one, which the Harvard president, she was black, and then they got rid of her. You know what they replaced her with?
What?
The Synagogue of Satan person.
Yeah,
and then
tribal member.
Yes,
Whoa.
and then the MIT president, they didn't remove her from her post. She
No.
is part of the Synagogue of Satan as well.
Right.
And so I'm watching, I'm like, wow, I thought it was just these institute. I thought it was just the banks. I thought it was just like it's just the banks.
It's
But
literally fucking everything.
Have you ever heard them do their
Education.
prayers when they go into session?
I'm
Have
sorry,
you ever
say
heard?
again?
They do prayers,
Mhm.
admittance prayers before they go into session.
What?
Yes, publicly. You can look it up. It's public record, and they do a prayer, and it's about the 1,000 points of light or something else like.
Yeah.
It's pretty deep, and they go into a circle. They all make a commitment, and at the end, he hands it back to the person that started the prayer, and then they start the meeting.
Well, if you do not sign an unconditional pledge to unconditionally support Israel, you will not get APEC money, and you will not serve another term in whatever it is that you're into. Okay, that's all there is to it. You're only going to get by if you completely kowtow to the agenda of these people merely because of their stranglehold on the power structure itself. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down here. I see Tony back there. I'm sorry, Tony, I'm not taking any more people up on here. I'm getting ready to shut it off. We're at 3.5 hours, and I do want it to be able to have some replay value. So you don't usually get that out of extremely long streams.
Appreciate
so Vlad,
So,
Disc Lord, New Civil Coalition, Break the Veil, hang out up back. I'm just going to put you backstage. I'm going to play us out with a song, and then we can just have a little
give me one
chat.
more little comment before we do
Yeah,
that.
go right ahead, Disc Lord.
All right. So I think that, and that's my personal thing, I think that what Elon is going to bring in, he's going to bring in what slowly, bit by bit, what Star Trek shows as the Borg. Borg, look at them. That's humans with integrated AI taking over their brains and following the devil, or whatever you want to call that evil thing. That's the AI system that's going to rule the people who's too stupid to not brain chip themselves.
Seems to me that the Borg flew around in a big black cube, didn't they?
Oh shit! Get the fuck out! You're joking.
Those things can make them into. They're like tiny little. The
You
newest
will
Borg
be
isn't they like
assimilated.
nano? They're like nano. Also humans with nanotech and all kinds.
Yeah, they would just go around and say, "You will be assimilated. Resistance is futile,"
And
then
you can't stop them.
Yep. And we're seeing that all over the place on the internet today too. You know, people
That's
say,
the
"Yeah,
biggest
let's
threat in
drink
Star
cups of
Trek
canola seed oil," and people go, "Yeah, because I support the current thing." You know, and they just do the same dumb shit. So
and
we
haven't
kind of
people
got
for
the
years
board.
been saying we won't be assimilated? I guess they saw a lot of Star Trek and got it even back in the day. We
I
won't be
know
assimilated.
a lot of ex-Jehovah's Witnesses refer to the Jehovah's Witnesses the Borg.
Right.
You know, once they've escaped from the cult and everything, you know, they refer to it. I've seen ex-Jehovah's Witness pages and shit like that on Facebook and stuff, and they all refer to the church as the Borg. Every last one of them. It's funny as hell. Wow. So anyways, like I said, y'all hang out backstage. I'm just going to put you back there. I'm going to play us out with a song, and then we'll just have a little bit of chit-chat backstage before we cut it out completely for the night. Sound like a winner?
Yeah.
All right. Let's do this, and I'm going to...
Time works. I'm going to stop by your channel here soon and say hello.
Yeah,
Right
you
on.
got it, man. New civil. Cool, man.
Right. Hang tight. I'm going to put you all back here real quick. Let's see if we can get us a little tune here. I thought this was appropriate for the times. Let's see what we got here. Something happening here. It's deadly clear. There's a man with a gun over there. Telling me I've got to beware. Well, it's time we stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going on. It's battle line being drawn. Nobody's right if everybody's wrong. Young people speaking their mind, giving so much resistance, far behind. It's time we stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. There's a nail day for the heat. 1,000 people in the street, singing songs and carrying signs. Mostly sing hooray for our side. Well, it's time we stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Into your life it will creep. Starts when you're always afraid. Step on the line and come and take you away. You got to stop. Hear what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Say stop, Judy, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going around. Stop, hey, got to stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going around. Y'all have a good night. We'll see you next time on Sovereign Soul Unchained Mind.